Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Welch with me, your host, John Luke Welch. That's right, make some noise, get excited. Tapping up on this Tuesday afternoon. Yes, sir. Yes, man, we are here. We are live. We are back, and we are ready to discuss the world of boxing and beyond with so much action transcending overshoot yesterday in light of what we thought was going to be an action-packed weekend. We're leading up to a fight with two major things back to back. Now it's only going to be one date in mind. That's November 22nd, because Jake Paul versus Tank Davis is officially off. Yes, it's done. It is finito. It is no longer happening. There is no longer a discussion about who can win, what's going to transpire, all this stuff surrounding the fight and stuff, because there ain't no doggone fight happening in the first place. My goodness, an absolute shock and awe to everybody involved. Hey, my goodness, what the world? We do have some problems. We have a lot of discussion, and we have a lot, and I do mean a lot of things to delve into with this whole saga of events. Also bleeding into, again, further conversation with the career of Tank as a whole. Hey, look, is this it? Is this really it? With this, the career of Tank could actually end on a whimper with this type of situation, where he is, for lack of better terms, butterfly with the biggest bag of the year on a low note that is one of the lowest you can get in life. And it's sketchy. It's dangerous. It is outright concerning. And now, yeah, it absolutely opens up that we can now focus on the real fights of the year. Again, like David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, like Brian Norman versus Devin Haney, like Ben Rodriguez, like Frank Martin, like a slew, just on one or two cards alone, like Lamont Roach versus Isaac Cruz. All of that, yeah, we can definitely discuss it. We can definitely have a focus, but that still is going to be, at least for the immediate. Oh boy, he's going to pale in comparison to what we had to talk about to at least address all this stuff that's going on, because, man, there's a lot to break down. But again, with that out the way, let's make sure we do this intro right. Hey, I'm your host, John Luke Welch. This is indeed The Welch Report. If you are just tuning in, hey, please leave a like on the stream. Go ahead, get the likes up on this stream. Keep on getting your conversations in by putting your comments in the chat down below so we can see everything that you all have to say and offer, and to have your conversation be a part of the global landscape of this empire, and have your voice be heard and have your voice be seen right here for millions to be able to witness and enjoy. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come on and join the empire. Keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make it possible to grow into the hottest show in all the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. All with you and your support, we can make that happen and live up to that moniker and live up to that zenith. But again, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some time, but I know we're going to shine if we do it together. Absolutely no question. But also, if you want to support the channel while we're getting monetization in place, we got Cash App, we got PayPal, we got links down below in the description. If you would like to support anything we do, if you can give, please give. It helps pay some bills, help to invest back in the show, help to make it so we can make this thing truly built into as much of a professional monolith as possible. And again, I can't do it without viewers like you. So whatever you can do just means the world to me. And just sticking around, just getting into the conversation, just being here in the show today is more than enough to have me not just feel the love and feel all the excitement and energy, but also just being here helps support the channel. Absolutely. So please, stick around. Have some fun. Give your comments in the debate. And I want to hear what you all got to say on the matter. And hey, without further ado, we got boxing to cover. We got sports to delve into. And we got to talk about this whole saga with Jake Paul and Tank. So right now, hey, we do what we do best. It is time to step into the ring. Yeah, buddy. Oh, yes. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of the show going underway, yes indeed, as we have to again sadly address, well, not, I don't even know if it's sadly, well, no, it is sadly, more so just in shock and in very much well, this is where we are type situation. Hey, Tank versus Jake Paul, yeah, that fight's gone. If you're new and you don't know what's up, Jake Paul versus Tank is officially done. They put out a whole statement. Nick Flicks and Jake Paul himself put out a whole statement over social media talking about how this fight on November, I believe it was November 11th, will no longer take place. The entirety of the card is gone. Finito. Done. Ain't doing nothing with nothing. It's planned to be rescheduled for December. Having an opportunity and having a time to get Jake Paul a new opponent. Who that will be, sure. We'll discuss that on this show later on. But the biggest thing is that off the backs of the allegations involving Tank Davis kidnapping and assaulting his ex-girlfriend at a club, now this has all snowballed into a big effect of, we don't want to talk about it, but we have to. The biggest bag that probably Tank would have had in his career officially just got blown up in smoke. And more than just the bag itself, one of the fights that would have been an easy payday and would have, honestly, potentially set up momentum for other big fights. Now it's no longer happening. As crazy as it sounds. And you have to understand. Again, like I said, we have made it an intentional thing to talk about the world of boxing as a whole, talk about the world of sports as a whole. To be clear, we're not just a Tank only type of show. Trust me, we don't do that. But this is, again, a saga that has been too big not to address, and it's too big to ignore. And it's to a point where it's a tizzy of how the world we got here in the first place. Also, Al Booger, what's good with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us today. Anybody else who's tuning into the show, hey, come on in, sit right down, have some fun, and let your voice be heard on the conversation of this show. Because when I say it is almost, like my head is spinning, my words completely upside down. Mind you, we were getting ready. Whether we wanted to or not, most people were going to watch that fight. Most people. I know I was even planning on trying to stream it. I was planning on streaming it. I was planning on going live with Netflix, which again, they've been actually keeping their streams in terms of Netflix working right, so we probably wouldn't have any hiccups. And so we were about to have ourselves a time. As much as it would be, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We were going to be here. We were going to watch it just to see what was going to take place and to listen to what was going to happen next, which what we really cared about, the careers of Tank, not the careers of Jake Paul necessarily. And now all of a sudden it's gone from, oh my gosh, Tank, you're running from challenges. Tank, you're not going out to test. Tank, where is the willingness to want to be great when we know you should be competing at a different type of level? All this stuff was the conversation leading into the fight. And now all of that has completely gone out the window. All of it. Not a soul cares about his wanting to be great anymore. At least right now. At least not right now. Yeah, what everybody cares about now is, hey, brother, are you okay? That's what we care about. Hey, man. My gosh.
We got some problems.
Because you have to understand. You have to understand. For something like this to happen so soon, and so close, it's like, how do you jeopardize this type of opportunity? That was something that the fans don't care about. How in the world do you put yourself in this situation where in something where the very thing that you wanted got ripped away because of your own decisions? From the standpoint of big payday, easy money, easy opponent, all that stuff. And again, I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm glad that the fight isn't going about. I'm happy we're no longer going to have to see this fight and have to talk about this as a legitimate event anymore, because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Shame on Tank and shame on Jake Paul. No question about it. But even in light of that, I didn't want it to be this is the reason that we see it in. And this man is moving allegedly like a legitimate Gotham villain. I didn't want that to be the case. Lord knows I did not. And now we're having a completely different conversation about the well-being of the brother. And it's like, oh, shoot. My gosh. And if I'm going to be real, and again, I'm seeing your chats. I'm getting ready to read them. But I just want to say, just to get my perspective off real quick, because I want to hear y'all's opinions on this whole affair with this fight being canceled. But I feel bad for the other people on the card. Because you have to understand, for many people that are on the Jake Paul card, this is also one of their biggest events in their career, at least at that point in time. and they can put on a platform, which is again on Netflix. Even if people aren't tuning in as much to the fight, just because people are interested, you potentially got eyes on upwards or with upwards of 100,000, potentially 1,000,000 people at any given point in time watching you do whatever you do in the ring. Plus, the bag that you get for getting on that card is something good. It's something substantial. I feel bad for all of those who now are going to be taken out of an opportunity to make potentially fight for insane levels of money that can free up other instances in their lives, set them up, and or at least put them on a good track. I hate that. I really do. I really do. Because again, as much as we may not like the card, greater effects of it, we have seen what Monticelli can do. I hate that they have to suffer because of this man's ineptitude. Brought into a circus that, again, shouldn't have happened in the first place. It's a shame. I feel for those fighters. I absolutely do. You can say, oh, you should feel bad for Jake Paul. He trained and all that stuff. Yeah, sure. He put in time and effort. But you know what he could have done? Put in that same time and effort against somebody who was actually worth his time fighting, for the sense of at the same age, at the same weight class, on his respective level or above, within the proper framework of an actual continuity for what Jake Paul is and where his career is going, rather than fighting somebody 140 pounds. So do I feel bad for him for this fight not happening? No, because it shouldn't have happened at all. Sure enough, I don't feel bad for Tank because, again, he literally, allegedly, brought this on himself. And so it's like, and apparently, again, per the words of Jake Paul talking to Aiden Ross, which again, I can play the clip in a little bit, but it's essentially, apparently they had evidence, video evidence. Now, that also contradicts the ESPN report saying that there was all this was done in a back room or in some sort of room with no cameras. So unless somebody else was recording, multiple people having recordings, then boom, it got sold to the highest bidder. Somebody's getting paid for that video. Jake Paul and his team was able to see that, okay, yeah, this is real. Okay, that was the case. We wouldn't have canceled it if it was just alleged. Okay, again, different conversations, different, completely different situation from the standpoint of if all that comes out to be true. And if that does happen, similar to the P. Diddy case of when he was beaten up on the girl that he was with in a hotel room, buck naked in nothing but a towel, running down the hallway. We were saying it sounded crazy. And then months later, video, usually it was like a month or like a year later, we actually see the hallway video. And then it finally does come out. Oh gosh, it's bad. As bad as it was, as bad, worse than what I thought it was. This could be that type of situation where later on down the line, yeah, we see the video. But again, I'm not an investigative. I'm not a detective. I don't work in that field. I'm not going to say what is or isn't going to happen. I'm just going to tell you what the pattern of these things that normally go through, if it all is true. But all of that is to be said, hey man, he shot himself in the foot. He shot himself in the foot and he knows it. And he knows it. And it's a doggone shame. It is I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with the passion of 1,000 suns. I'm telling you, it's bad. But let me see you all's comments right here in the chat, because I don't want to waste too much time on my thoughts. I want to hear what you all have to say on the matter on today. Because trust and believe, I know all of you, and I do mean all of you, have a whole bunch to say in regards to this whole saga and conversation. Hey, let's not beat around the bush. Let's see what you all got. And let us all have ourselves a time talking about this whole saga. Let me see what you all got to say. Let me see. Bobby777. What's going on with it? What's up, Bobby? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. Glad you're here on the show. Let me see what you got to say on the matter on today. Let me see. Pack Tank up and get him out of boxing. Hey, look, hey, when I tell y'all that boxing won't miss him when he's gone, these are the types of sentiments that we're saying. And again, he brought this type of reputation onto himself. Tank 31 and people still talking about him like he's 18. There is no longer a ability to have, what's the word? There's no longer a way to justify that you're still growing. He's young. 30 isn't old. Absolutely. 30 is an adult. And you, at any given point, all this stuff since he's been this age has always been, hey, you need to get yourself right. And it's been concerning consistently that we keep seeing this type of stuff transpire of a seemingly self-destructive type of manner. And mind you, it's gotten worse and worse and worse outside the ring over the years, and every single time, like I said last week, he has been able to skirt by without any means of, I don't want to say, well, no, that's the right word. He slid by without any consequence. Every controversy made him bigger. Every situation that was questionable gave him more levels of aura and outright marketability. Every time we saw something happen that was like, I can't believe Tank did this, I can't believe he said this, I can't believe he's taking this type of fight, all that stuff, it turned into somehow, some way, made him even more polarizing in a manner that got everybody wanting to see him even more. And never cut the rug out from under him as a fighter, as a boxer. I'm not going to say what happened to him in a personal life, because again, I don't know what all goes on there. I just know all that stuff outside the ring somehow still caused a level of entry inside the ring. And it kept on compounding, kept on building. But now it's reached its end, at least this year. Then this year is the 1 year where all this stuff is starting to come to a head. Like I said, it's a mountain that it is a Jenga mountain of, I don't want to say confidence. It's a Jenga mountain of fame. It's a throne built on fool's gold. All of a sudden, people are looking closer and they're saying, wait a minute, you ain't really what you thought you were. And all these mistakes and stuff don't get overlooked anymore. The details starting to come out. They're starting to be recognized by the wider boxing public, and people are getting tired of it. They really are. It's a shame. Let me see. I'm in Rhoda. What's good with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show with us on today. We're so happy that you're here, that you're spending time with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Please leave a like on the stream. Get the likes up. I want to hear your thoughts and conversation. I'm reading all your chats to see how you all feel about this whole event going down in terms of the drama with Tank and Jake Paul officially not happening at all. So let's see what you guys say on the matter. Let me see. Buddy Tank always does Tank things. I was looking forward to the undercard. Yeah, see, again, the undercard, I feel bad because they are getting they are getting absolutely done over by something that was out of their control. They are getting skewed off of the path to revenue because of something that they didn't even do. All because the main event was, one, already something that if anything went wrong, it was going to be a problem. And B, something that could have been avoided if Gervonta Davis was indeed a better outside the ring actor. If he was able to, again, all this is alleged, I understand. But my gosh, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. Because I'm telling you something right now. Netflix would not cancel something this big, with this much momentum, this much hype, with this much surrounding the fight as a whole. And the money they were putting into this fight, from marketing, from promotional material, from getting the venue, from getting production, all this, they wouldn't be spending that much money. Unless it was something that was worth doing. The whole thing with Netflix has been, we are not going to just put on any type of fight. Yeah, we can be a home for boxing, but we are the biggest home for boxing. What does that mean? We only put on the absolute most polarizing and or most integral affairs on our platform. Outside of that, we ain't touching nothing. And so if we do invest in something, guess what? This is supposed to be breaking records in some way, shape, or form. It's supposed to be. So for them to cancel this, knowing what it would have brought in, knowing what it's done the last 3 times they've had boxing on Netflix as a whole, you best believe that this was some undeniable evidence from Netflix's own side that, yeah, this ain't gonna work. MVP Promotions, yeah, this ain't gonna happen. That's why I keep saying it's alleged, but I'm telling you, if Netflix and MVP, and Jake Paul are all saying, yeah, this ain't happening, and the fight's canceled from all three levels, something's there. Something's there. Something there that's done shut all this down. That leads me to believe this might not be an alleged action. As much as I'm trying to be, again, as covering my bases as possible, it ain't looking pretty. It ain't looking pretty. And again, I'll play the clip of what Jake Paul has said on the in regards to this whole situation today. But let me keep on reading what you all had to say. He wasn't fighting the best either way. He might as well retire. Let me see, yo, from another planet, visitor to another planet. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. And I still want to, in regards to your comment, yeah, a lot of people are now having a sentiment of, yeah, he needs to go on and just forget this. Be done. Walk away. I've been saying, yeah, he should go on and walk away if, again, this personal life that he's been trying to lead keeps on compounding on himself to a point that this man's in a bad way. This man's in a bad state. And this man's in a real situation where he is in a self-destructive path. And it's a shame. It really is. It really is a shame. But let me keep on reading. Let me see. Amen. You said Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiroka was a fight I was looking forward to. Yes! Russell was coming back. And mind you, we had this whole debacle of which Gary Russell were we talking about. We were getting confused for a second. But now, you're talking right, I was ready to see Antoine Russell. Talking right, I was ready to see this brother go up against which would have been in an opponent with Hiroka. Would have been a knockdown, drag out brawl. At least in my estimation, it would have been a phenomenal fight there. But it's, again, everybody suffers when the top don't do their job. Moreover, when the top are messing up in an egregious degree. And it's a shame. Let me see, is Tank the biggest what-if boxer since the turn of the century? You know what? I'm going to say no, but I'm going to get back to why. Bobby, I'm going to get back to why. Let me keep on reading the chats, but I'm going to get back to why he's not the biggest, but he is one of the biggest that we have in this whole saga. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say. The people on the card was done dirty because of Tank. Yes, it was. Yes, they were, absolutely. Tank should not be working. Tank should not be worked with. He's unprofessional. And again, the sentiment, everything y'all are saying ain't wrong. Let me see, do you think Calvin Ford and Tank or do you think Calvin Ford and Tank team are all yes men? So I'll answer this, Bobby, and then I'll go back to the top comment that you had with is he the biggest what if? Tank, I don't think Tank is surrounded by yes men. At least not as much, at least within his inner circle. Again, Calvin Ford, as a person, from what I've been able to see, it's somebody, and that core team, they legit do care about what Tank is as a person. Like I've said, they've been with him since a child. They, in terms of that team specifically, from what I've been able to see and hear, listen to, and watch how they act, they look like they are genuinely they are genuinely trying to care about Tank and what he is and what he's going to be in and outside of the ring. But in this situation, it's Tank, more specifically, that is being messed up because of his own actions and own ways, his own internal problems. Now, again, I'm only speaking on what I've been able to see from Calvin Ford. They very well could be, people that are just agreeing, and yeah, you good, you fine, all that stuff behind the scenes, which has been an enabler for what all this is. That's completely fine. If that's the case, I'm strictly only able to tell you what I have been able to see. And I'm not going to jump on no more because I don't know anymore. But everything that Tank has done has not been because his team has necessarily been out of the picture or not doing their job to care about the fighter beyond just the ring. Because I do believe that they have, because they do that with other fighters that they train as well. But Tank is indeed surrounded by yes men. That is true. His fan base also has been part of that yes men type of environment. That is true. But it is still ultimately Tank that has the responsibility to say, I need to get my stuff in check. Very well could be that Calvin Ford and them have been telling him, hey brother, you need to, stuff gotta do what they need to do. You can't be like this. Calvin Ford ain't gonna talk bad about him in public, but also I died with how he is as a person, as a man. What I've seen when he's outside the ring, this ain't nobody who's gonna put up with anything, no matter who you are. Especially if you're one of his own. From the standpoint of he's like my kid, my son. He said it himself. He ain't gonna put up with it. He gonna say something. But ultimately, again, he's a grown man. Tank is a grown man. He's a grown man. He has his own will to do whatever he wants to do, regardless of what's being told opposite to him. And at some point, Calvin Ford can't control it. Customato was dealing with Mike Tyson and helping him be not going insane. But again, when Tyson messed up, guess what? Wasn't on Customato necessarily because of, oh, you didn't do your job. No, Tyson made the decision to go and do some of the things that he did. Yes, he had problems. Yes, he had issues. Yes, he was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, but still, there was another way that was being shown to him, and he kept on choosing, of his own words, his Tyson's own words, he kept on going the opposite. And later in life, then you saw, okay, yeah, now I'm who I need to be. With Tank, it seems like it's following that type of vein. And it cost him. It cost him heavily. It cost him upwards of $100 million. I'm almost assured at least 30 to 50. At least 30 to 50. And when it comes to continued work with, forget Jake Paul, Netflix as a whole, if that ever does transpire to be, that might not even, shoot. Who knows what our relationship's going to be like now that we see what type of risk you are to a big brand like Netflix, who again has now lost out on major money trying to make this event happen. Indeed, this is a multi, 110, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 100 million. That is a 9-figure potential loss that they've done with all the stuff they put into this fight. Oh, you better believe it's going to be a stain. It's going to be bad. And will he get this opportunity again on this stage? I don't know. Will he even fight again after all this stuff? I truly don't know. But his own actions have now cost him the very thing that he said he only cared about. I want my money and I want to be gone. Well, guess what? Now you ain't got your money and you might be gone still. In jail. In jail. Like I said, I do truly hope that all this stuff is all alleged and none of this is factual. But my gosh, it is not looking good in the slightest on every single account. And so, again, you brought this on yourself, and I just hate it. I hate it. Let me see. Tank did the same thing with Welch. Yep, he did absolutely. That's why the fight was postponed. It's a. Oh my gosh! I completely forgot that did happen. Yes, you're right. That did happen. Tank with Gervonta was supposed to take place. Allegedly went about beating. I don't think it was even alleged at that time. I think was that the incident? Was that the one that was recorded by the crowd at the NBA game? Or was that a different? I think this one was a different instance. That again, this case got dropped absolutely. But even still, we were saying in light of that case being dropped, oh, so you could have been actually having that fight. Because very quickly afterwards, you wasn't litigation that held you up from making that Jake Paul thing, did you? No. Crazy thing is you used it as a means to actually get that fight with Jake Paul. To wait him out. So yeah, it's happened again. But in this situation, I think this is a lot worse. This is a whole lot worse in my regard. Let me see. I agree Calvin does come off as someone with some integrity. And like I said, I don't know him for certain. I don't know the man in person. I'm only going off of what I see. I'm not going to act like I know people. I can only infer based on what the actions and the words that they've said. and the consistency at which what I've seen them show what their person is. Outside of that, I'm not going. You ain't going to hear. You ain't going to hear me speak on something like that. And trust me, trust me. Everything, whatever I talk about, is only based on evidence I have. and if I say something is skeptical, or I'm giving my input, I say I'm being skeptical. You ain't gonna hear me say this is true and it ain't true. That ain't gonna happen. And I ain't about to make that mistake. Lord knows I ain't doing that. Let me see. Vaughn Green here. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. And let's see what you all got to say on this conversation. I wonder if Leonard Ellaby left Tank because he's been MIA ever since the Ryan fight. Tank needs some time off to get his mental together. See, and here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, which is why this is so bad. Tank is at a crossroads with his life and career. It's not just career, it's life and career. You have to understand that, and yes, I mean, you're absolutely right. If the card got moved to December 12th, who the opponent is, we don't know. We will discuss the potential opponents that can happen coming down the line. Some people say Roller Romero, and some other names as well. We will delve into that after we get through with this specific portion, because there is something I do need to say in regards to this before we move on. But we are going to get into the who's who of who will potentially be an opponent for Jake Paul, and if he can even get an opponent for December 12th. Because again, when I say his options are few, it's few, legit, for a reason. Because like I said, he's at a point where he can't go down in spectacle. If he does, guess what? Nobody's going to buy it. So the risks keep getting bigger, even though it's still skewed in his favor. The risks keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger up until, well, now you can't skew this risk anymore. And this is the only risk that anybody is willing to pay to see you take. So, what you gonna do? We're gonna get into that later on in the show, no question about it. But let me finish off with this last couple comments on just the reaction to the shock of this whole thing going down, and then we're gonna delve into that absolutely. But let me see. I think Tank won't step in the ring again. He keeps ending up in jail. Tank, and again, this goes back to the comment that Green Hill said. Tank is at a crossroads where he can't step away. Tank needs time to get himself together. Absolutely. I am all on board with it. But he said himself, if I ever do, I'm not going to be able to be the fighter I need to be. If I lose whatever this internal struggle that's driving me to be this type of monster in the ring, I'm not going to be able to fight like I need to fight, because once I get myself taken care of, that fire is going to be gone. That engine that's keeping me going, though it's incredibly problematic, it's going to be gone. And I can't go like I need to go anymore because I don't have that it thing, whatever it is. Because showing up is volatile, but it works. So because Tank has said, if I fix myself, I'm not going to be able to fight, he can't fix himself up until he's done. Because once he does take time to get himself together, he's not fighting anymore. He's done. It's over. His career is finished. The second he gets whatever help he needs, and he said himself that he needs help. This ain't me trying to be, somebody Dr. Phil reading into stuff. He said himself he needs to get some help, and he wants to get some help for past trauma and stuff. But if he ever does get that help, his career is over, and it will never continue. His words, not mine. So he can't stop. He can't, which is also why I'm saying, and as this is another pseudo point that I prepped for this type of occasion, is the brother done with boxing? Is he done? Is he done? This type of question, I had justification. Is he done? Is he finished as a fighter? When we're looking at his career going forward, is he finished? And I would say yes. After this, I wouldn't be surprised if, he don't step in the ring again. If I'm wrong, hey, cool. I would love it. I would hope. I would appreciate if it wasn't the case that he was done and he was able to still fight and get himself together. But again, will that happen? I have my doubts. I got my doubts. I'm not gonna lie. But in all actuality of what we're seeing with Tank, we're dealing with the man who really do truly, and I do mean truly, cannot afford to step away. But this might be the very thing that pushes this brother out. Again, what did I say last week? By choice or by force is one of the worst situations of crossroads that you can be in. By force or by choice is a saying that essentially means by either you are willingly going to make a decision or a decision will be made for you and you have no choice. But in either way, you got to make a move because there's only one of two things that can happen. And you better make it willingly. Because if you're forced to do something, it's going to be even worse. And most of the time, when you get into that type of crossroads, it's for the same decision. That fork in the road is, hey, brother, there really is only two options. Either you're willingly going to do this thing or you're going to be forced to do this thing. And if you're forced to do this thing, not only will you not have a choice in the matter, but it's going to be a whole lot more painful. Hey, brother, pay up my money. Guess what? Either you can give it to me now or I can break your legs, take out your knees, and then go and beat you up to kingdom come and then take your money. Would you want pain or you just want to be in debt? Which one is it? You would be privy to choose the latter, or it's going to be the former. And just pay the dough. Willingly, here's the cash. Because if you get tracked down and they force you to pay, my gosh, it's gonna be worse for wear. But all of that is because you didn't take care of your business when you had freedom, when you had multiple opportunities and instances, and now you're stuck. And either by force or by choice, you're going to have to fight. By force or by choice, you're going to have to do what you got to do. And that is the worst way to be in. And that's exactly where Tank is right now. Either by force or by choice, he's going to have to get some help. You're going to have to. The choice, he steps away, does what he's got to do. Hopefully doesn't end up in jail, but then comes back. And he's able to still fight but be better. That's the best case scenario. But the worst, the brother gets convicted, gets indicted, goes to jail, and he's forced to sit there for potentially up to 5 to 12 years and have to sit and get right by the correctional facilities without an option to say, hey, you can do this by yourself. Because that freedom got stripped away. He's at that fork in the road, and it's looking like it's about to be by choice. Or it's looking like it's about to be by force. If this thing gets more than alleged. Because it's bad. It's bad. I'm telling y'all, it's really bad. But let me keep on reading. Tank, I'm sure, lost a lot of sponsor opportunities with all these domestic instances. And you have to understand, he's been able to still be marketable for the public. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse every time. This is the worst of it. When it comes to other things I've seen Tank do throughout his outside the ring career, this is one of the baddest ones. And again, he lost Netflix as a backing partner because they were promoting this fight. This was on their platform. He lost out on the biggest streaming platform in the world today to stream one of his biggest fights to what would have been the biggest audience in his entire career. And what most likely would have also been the biggest payday he ever gets. And he, one, shouldn't have even taken this fight. Yet Netflix was still willing to pay that much money to have you on their platform. And you lost them, the biggest sponsor or partner you could ever have. He's one of the biggest. You better believe that he's now lost out on the respect of a litany of other people. Litany of other people. I'm interested to see what the PBC is going to do now. And like I said, there's more people that know about the world of promotions in boxing. And PBC is a boxing promoter that is tightly in partnership with Tank Davis. But I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this brother now that we saw this all happen and go down. Because, again, you lose the respect of Netflix, you lose the respect of a whole host of people. Especially with this type of thing to being the thing that got you to lose respect, what he's being alleged of. So I'm interested. I'm incredibly interested. Let me see, what makes it worse is Tank doesn't talk. If he did, I will say he'd somehow incriminate himself further. I don't know what if he's a speaker or not speaker. If anything, you would think that he would come out and be saying, hey, this ain't true. This ain't me. This ain't what we're doing. All of this is alleged. This is not what happened at all. At all. With something this volatile and violent of a situation. My goodness. You would imagine he would actually speak, and that brother normally don't speak on anything outside. Biggest thing that he touched on was talking about Victor Conte passing away. Which, again, Victor Conte, if you didn't know, passed away at 75 years old from pancreatic cancer. Rest in peace to him. One of the most controversial figures in boxing, arguably ever, at least in the modern day. With Vada working with the first off being able to know how to cheat the system, then teaching Vada how to stop the people from cheating the system, but then also making snack, which everybody is still up in the air about, whether it's good, whether it's bad. Oh, he's had a lot of stuff going on with him. He has done some good stuff for boxing later on, again, like with Vada testing. That's showing them what the people do, because we don't want people popping. That's fine, but even still, some people love him, some people hate him, some people like Tank, glad he's gone. Others are like, man, I hate that he went away. Regardless of which, he left a mark. And again, rest in peace to him. We do feel bad and send condolences to his friends and his family, all of whom I imagine are hurting. Absolutely, no question about it. No question about it. It's a sad thing regardless. But you shouldn't be talking about that if you're Tank Davis, because of the fact that, hey man, you literally got bigger fish to fry. Not because death is meaningless. No. It means something. Absolutely. But that should not be, in this situation, that should not be the thing that you're willingly opening your mouth about. Using your Twitter fingers for. No. You need to be saying, hey man, condolences to him and his family. Also, I didn't do it. Just something. Because right now, man, it's looking bad. He might be wise to step away for a year or two, maybe come back in a few years. He'd still be plenty young at that point. I mean, maybe. But you have to understand, I'm saying he's done because Tank has also said, hey man, I don't care about this boxing game. The only thing that's keeping him around are major paydays. The only thing that's keeping him around is big time ventures in money. Not the title, not the belt, not the championships. He can talk about all the names that he wants. He can have his hit list left, right, and center. He can say he's the best in the world, yada, 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 all that mess. He can talk all of that. But he's also said what he really feels. Hey, I'm sick of this boxing game. When I'm gone, you won't hear from me again. While I'm here, you'll know me. But when I'm gone, that's it. And it's going to be when he's gone, he ain't coming back. It's a good time, not a long time. And this time is getting ready to hit. It's a good time getting ready to hit. You could argue it already ended. The last good time that he had was Frank Martin. Last good time he had was Frank Martin. And after that, nothing. Should have lost to Lamont Roach. Took a fight with Jake Paul in the first place, and now allegedly kidnapped and beat up his ex-girl. My gosh. And apparently it's on video. And real quick, but I keep teasing this clip. Let me actually take some time and play the doggone thing, so I'm not just holding y'all hostage with ifs and whats of what was said. Because Lord knows I hate that when people do that on other channels. I ain't doing that on mine. No, sir. Weeze is going to go through and absolutely take this. Interesting. Okay, all right. We'll discuss that later on. I just saw something very interesting. We will discuss that later on. We will discuss that. We will discuss that particular set of news later on in the show, probably in championship rounds. We're gonna keep it hidden, but I think that's something pretty good to talk about. But either way, regardless of which, let's pull up the clip right here for you all to witness. And what the word is going, brother? What is going on? What is going on Twitter right now? Wait a second. I'm sorry. I'm getting notifications left, right, and center of a bunch of stuff breaking. So it's a lot. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. It should be the clip of. Both of them is not there. No. I'll look it up this way. Unless somebody deleted said video. It was an interview with him and Adrian Ross going together, talking about this whole saga and what happened and exactly why. Did they delete it? Okay, they might delete. Okay, well, regardless of which. Well, okay, no, okay. I don't know why I can't find it. We're going to use the video again from another boxing creator. Again, yet again, Two-Tone the Adult. Or not Two-Tone the Adult. Two-Tone the Superstar. Another boxing commentator, podcaster, voice in the sphere, combat sports. He has the video. So I don't know why I can't find it nowhere else, but he's got it. So I'm going to play his clip. This is not my footage. He got it. So this is his channel. So I'm gonna let y'all see what he has to say, and it should play exactly what Tank says or what Jake Paul says in regards to the video. Should.
Davis.
Yeah,
what I don't know. I'm kind of in a sad mood.
Why are you upset?
People don't realize how much
Also, viewer discretion is advised. There may be some strong language, so just understand. I do apologize.
effort is put into these training camps. This guy is like such a piece of shit, bro. He pulled up to Tootsie's and a girl dragged her through the parking lot and her in the face, and it's like, bro.
Okay.
Like,
wait, but how do you know that happened?
It's a lawsuit. Miami-Dade is coming. There's video. Like,
a child is musty.
So, like, again, that is the clip that I saw. I don't know why I can't find it now, but thank you, Two-Tone. Thank you, Two-Tone the Superstar. I guess, hey, clap it up for him. Appreciate you. Appreciate you helping me out, even though appreciate you helping me keep our show going. But regardless of which, so like, wait a minute. I'm so sorry. I didn't even. I apologize. I didn't even switch the screen, and I thought I had. I'm gonna play it one more time with the actual video, so you can see that this ain't something I'm just making up. That is real. So I apologize for playing it again. No, we don't repeat clips. We're gonna do it for this one time, and also it might be a little bit hard to hear. So we're gonna play it again, just to skip to where they say they got video.
this guy is like such a piece of shit. Bro, he pulled up to Tootsie's and a girl dragged her through the parking lot and her in the face, and it's like, bro.
Okay.
Like,
Wait, but how do you know that happened?
it's a lawsuit. Miami-Dade is coming. There's video.
Like that again. This is why they had to cancel it. So it's a bad time. It's a really bad time. And again, it's why I say I don't think Tank is coming back. Because of every single outside the ring problem that we've had with Tank, it has been an escalation of consistent problematic behavior. It's gotten worse, worse, worse and worse and worse every single time out. Like I said, if people on Twitter, they got a timeline of every single instance that this man has done where he's either gone to court or has been alleged of doing something by people. It is so... It's such a mountain of problematic consistency that now we're saying, hey, brother, you would be privy to step away now. I personally, if I'm going to be real, and I think actually, Showbiz the Adult said this. I think crazy enough, I think I saw a clip of him posting this. We give credit where credit is due. He posted a clip of him, I think a couple of years ago. And I came across it. It was like a day or two, I think. And he was saying, and this is way back earlier in his channel, and he was saying that Tank had signs of Adrian Broner from back in the day when Broner was having this fall from grace with a bunch of things after the loss to Maidana, and after the loss to Pacquiao, then it just fell into a bin of absolute despair and consistent losses, where it's like, yo, what is going on? That type of downward spiral. He was saying that like, 4 or 5 years ago. That was a clip that was a clip that I saw. And somewhat I agree. I somewhat agree. This is that type of slope. It's that type of slope. And it's a shame, but it's the truth. It's that type of slope that we're seeing Tank go down, where it is a mountain of consistent problematic issues that are just going to erode away eventually at the in-ring production. Again, the in-ring production is secondary compared to the life outside the ring, because we see what the problems are outside the ring. That's bigger than boxing. But we know inevitably it will affect the in-ring work. It always has. It always does at some point in time. Regardless of whoever you're talking to, whatever boxer you're discussing, it always does. It always does. And for Tank, it's looking like that same pattern is about to happen to him. And it's a shame. But let me keep on reading. I think Tank has lost the fire. He has been talking about retiring this year. And like I said, he backtracked. He said he was going to fight for longer after the Lamont Roach fight. He's been saying that he does want to fight Lamont Roach, though he's again taking this fight with Jake Paul. It's been, again, contradictory. It's been a level of hypocrisy from the words he's saying. We don't know. The only thing that we do know is that he said he doesn't want to be around for here long. And I doubt that this is the means at which he thought it would be time for him to leave. But this looks like the means for anybody to say, yeah, it's time for you to stop. Because if you do continue, you are at a point in time where you are a danger to yourself if you don't get what you need fixed internally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever the word you think or know that you need to get right. You need to get that right now, because if you don't get this done, you are prone. As much as this is an escalating circumstance of craziness that we see with Tank, you're prone to somehow top this. You're prone to somehow top this. And we don't want that. We don't want that at all. If they got video of you kidnapping and assaulting your girl, like what Jake Paul said, which again was good enough for Netflix to pull out, and for Jake Paul, who is willing to do anything, for him not to even take this fight, saying I don't want to propagate. In fact, I'll read the very quote that Jake Paul put out in regards to his statement with Tank Davis, which again I have never seen or heard this type of rhetoric from somebody like Jake Paul before. And in all of my years of watching and knowing what Jake Paul is and who Jake Paul operates like, this is I genuinely. I'll read some experts from his thing. Gervonta Davis is an actual walking piece of garbage. Working with him was an absolute nightmare. Unprofessional, bizarre requests, showing up hours late to shoots, numerous arrests related to accusations and lawsuits. If you support this man, you're the most you support the most vile sin a man can't commit. Again, this is Jake Paul. I've never heard him talk like this before. I don't want to give a woman abuser a platform to grow his fans and grow his bank account. My company champions women. I'm so sorry to everyone involved. Well, here's the thing. You could have not fought the brother at all. I think you also called him a woman beater on stage, and you took this fight after already 3, upwards of 5, previously alleged and or convicted instances of you, to the Tank, hitting, abusing, or doing something bad to women he was in relationships with or was out of relationships with. Yet still, you still chose to take this fight in the first place. And you could have not moved at all to fight Gervonta Davis. And you shouldn't have fought the brother in the first place, just from the standpoint of you ain't 140 or even 135, not even 150. You're 220. So again, I'm glad you're taking the stand, absolutely. But where was all this rah-rah when you could have taken a stand beforehand? When you knew what this man was, when you knew what his history had been, when you knew what he was also had been consistently doing upwards of 2 years ago from a assaulting women standpoint, which again is absolutely horrible. But you chose that, it's okay then. We can overlook that to make that fight, but yet you now that it happened on your card, oh, you got a problem. You wouldn't have worked with the brother at all if this was the sentiment that you really held from the standpoint of you were consistent with it. Oh, it's good that you're taking a stance now, absolutely. It's good that you're canceling the fight now based on what you saw, absolutely, no question. But also, don't act like you're trying to be I'm this, that, and the third when you didn't and shouldn't have taken this fight at all if that was really your concern, because he already had a history of this. So again, white knight, white savior type of stuff, I don't like that. And from white knight, I mean not race white knight, but you know the when somebody tries to come in on a horse and say, hey, I did this, I saved the day, all this stuff, but it doesn't fit the action of what should have been consistently going about. Because if you really felt that way, that fervently, you wouldn't have even wanted to fight him at all, because you knew his history. If you really were a champion for women, like you say. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. Regardless of which, it's a problem. It's a problem. So let's see, Bobby 77. So they got video. Yep, they do have, apparently, again, per words of Jake Paul, they got video. We'll see it soon. We'll probably see it in a couple months. Maybe even a year. Again, like with P. Diddy, we'll probably see that clip. We'll probably see the video. It'll probably come out. Somebody will probably get paid off. Again, ESPN said it happened in a room where there were no cameras. So if that was the case, then most likely it's going to be that somebody was recording this whole situation. And they're getting paid to give that to Netflix, Jake Paul's team, and whatever authorities or whatever outlet to get a bag, get out anonymously, and the evidence gets put out to the public. Most likely that's what's going to happen. Most likely that's what's going to happen if we see history repeat itself. Let me see. Teddy Burkshot, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. Him better retire. Like he said originally that night, the sentiment is, yeah, it seems like he's going to get on out of here. If Tank doesn't have any investments outside of boxing, then that's a big problem. Seriously, doubt he does. I mean, he probably does. I'm not saying, he's still a businessman. He still is one of the better businessmen we have in boxing today. He does a lot for Baltimore and the community. I'm not having no doubt he's got investments. I don't care about the investments. I care about, one, the sport, and two, the man. Not necessarily in that order, but from the standpoint of, regardless of what he has lined up outside of boxing, does not matter from the sense of he and his entire life has been in boxing. And now, potentially, he's about to ruin that very life that he cultivated for himself because of his own actions. And that is just horrible. It's terrible. Jake Paul's a hypocrite. He wanted to do business with Tank, and now he wants to complain. It's, again, like I said, boxing's filled with hypocrisy. Boxing's filled with contradictions. This shouldn't be a surprise, but it should be a surprise. Does that make sense? Should not be a surprise that this takes place. But it should be a surprise that this happened. Because, again, the levels we can go, we didn't think we could go lower. Yet, here we are. And beyond just, I believe I got, do I have this? I think I got this segment. Beyond just Tank, because again, we can talk about Tank all day long. Quickly, because this is taking up every single outlet I can think of has only been talking about this. Just this whole thing, because it's such a big shot in the arm. Who's going to replace him? If we're going to see this man fight in December, in terms of Jake Paul, and they're trying to reschedule, who the world's going to replace him? We keep saying we want this man out of sport. Fine, absolutely. But Netflix has already agreed, yeah, we're going to reschedule this for December. Well, if that's the case, where does he go? And this goes back to another comment that we had earlier in the show in regards to December 12th, it'll be moved. It will. We don't know who that opponent's going to be. And we've had some rumors. Again, as I can pull up right here for you all to be able to witness. We've had some rumors in regards to who was going to be the replacement. The replacement just for this, to try to salvage the card this week, was going to be allegedly Francis Ngannou. My goodness. It was going to be, they reached out to Francis Ngannou to try to get a fight. Francis Ngannou said, hey man, I'm insulted. And again, I'll let him say it for yourself. Or I'll let him speak for himself in regards to this whole thing when he got the offer. In lieu of Tank, in lieu of Tank being MIA. Here's what Francis Ngannou had to say when he was offered the fight with Jake Paul.
How can they go from like Gervonta Davis to Francis Ngannou? Come on, like the way different and everything, it make no sense. It make no sense. Nikisa reached out the other day and tell me how they need a replacement for Gervonta. Then I say, okay, what can I do for you? He said, yeah, we're looking for a replacement, but I still haven't get it. I was like, okay, then what exactly can I do for you? Like, we would think about you to fight Jake. I'm like, what? I'm like, who's Jake? I was so confused. I'm like, no, bro, come on. Don't disrespect me like that. He sent out some number. I'm like, it's not about the number. I'm not just interested. He make no sense for me.
Is it flattering at least that they're thinking about you?
I think it's disrespectful instead. What flattering? Come on. How can
as you can see, this man, again, with the respect that Ngannou always showed, again, he is a very much respectful person. And even in that, you still had that level of like he wasn't, he was just talking honestly. But there's no respect in you trying to offer me a fight after you were trying to fight Tank Davis. So that's an insult. Who do you think I am, brother? I went toe to toe with Tyson Fury for 12. And honestly, people feel I should have won that fight. I have, no, stop. Who do you think this is? And again, this has become a potential problem. And the reason why I said it is because, again, offered Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou shut it down. Offered to fight the likes of, or was potentially, was rumored to be potentially get replaced by Rolly Romero. And have that fight happen, which again is still incredibly more problematic. And further reason why this Netflix card got canceled outright, because there is no fight that would have been able to garner Netflix consistent interest except for this fight with Tank Davis. Because again, the spectacle can only go so long when something is able to match the hype. And by that I mean, the name that's in there with Jake now has to always be bigger and or a legitimate dog threat that, like, it's guaranteed he's going to get put to sleep. That's it. If that doesn't happen, there's nothing that can sell. Again, Jake Paul is in the end game as a boxer. I've said this for almost a year. Jake Paul had one goal in mind: to fight one of 3 names in the sport of boxing: Canelo Alvarez, Tank Davis, and potentially, and I do mean potentially, one of the heavyweight or cruiserweight champions. That's it. And most likely the championship aspirations was completely out the question. It was Tank and Canelo. Canelo being the main guy as the cash cow. Once he reached that zenith, this run is over. The stint is done. Because like I said then, once Jake Paul gets to a level where he can no longer top the spectacle of, oh my gosh, he's fighting Mike Tyson. Oh my gosh, he's fighting Gervonta Davis. Oh my gosh, he's fighting Anderson Silva. Once all of the use of illusion based off of name value starts to dissipate, now substance is the only thing that matters. And now substance is the only thing that you don't want. Yet it's the only thing that fans desire. The only reason people were even interested in this fight with Tank Davis, with Jake Paul, was because everybody felt that Tank was going to be able to knock out anybody in the world, especially somebody who is not a good boxer in the slightest, even though he's 200 plus pounds. That's it. Tank can finally stop this show, and we don't have to deal with it no more. He's behind the 8 ball in size, absolutely. He's outweighed by almost 100 pounds, absolutely. But because he's so good and he's knocked out heavyweights in sparring before, guess what? We don't have to worry. He's going to knock him out, and we can finally see the end of Jake Paul for real. Against a great talent, somebody is actually active in the sport, somebody that's actually in his prime. All this stuff, weight and stuff, forget it. Don't matter in this situation for many people. But now that this fight is done, and now that the future of Tank is not just done with Netflix, but in jeopardy as a whole, and now that Jake Paul can't work with Tank again, after saying all this stuff, if he goes back and works with Tank, that would be abhorrent. He might just lose his stable of women fighters and other fighters as a whole because you went backtracked on the very thing that you said you stood for. Do you really support us? Do you really support Alyssa Baumgardner? Do you really support Amanda Serrano? If you go back to him, wouldn't be good. Then, with all of that being the case, he's only got one avenue left, and that avenue is legitimate comp, either at his weight class or again above it. That's it. That's it. Or Canelo. And again, Canelo ain't fighting Jake Paul. You won't even, just like with Ngannou feeling disrespectful when he offered him that, Canelo feels the same way. He ain't doing that dumb stuff. He ain't doing that dumb stuff at all. So Jake Paul now is only relegated to one avenue. He's got to fight somebody that he is behind the 8 ball with. He's got to fight somebody that is a disadvantage. And he's got to fight somebody that is going to be dangerous in every facet. No weight cut, no rehydration clause, no insane catch weight. No, you're 45 to 56 years old. No situation where you're only 140 pounds. No UFC fighter. No retired boxer. Real comp. That's it. Because again, if this wasn't the case, Rolly Romero would have been contacted and replaced by Jake Paul. If that wasn't the case, Ryan Garcia would have been contacted and replaced with Netflix by Jake Paul. If that wasn't the case, we would have had a replacement of somebody coming in. Because we've had other people say, I can come off the street and beat this brother. Okay, fine. It would have done it. But you know why it's not working? Because nobody's caring. Because the spectacle's gone. So the only person he can fight now is somebody that is in every single facet of threat. Because now that it's not Tank, you don't want to see him fight any other 147 pounder, champion or not. You don't want to see Jake Paul fight against somebody that's 135 pounds, 140, 150. You don't want to see that. Nobody does, because nobody cares. The only reason why they cared with Tank was because it's Tank. Tank, if you put anybody that's 140 pounds in the ring with Jake Paul, you would be saying, well, this is Nate Robinson all over again. Not because they wouldn't be a better boxer, because they would, but just because it's another mismatch. This is not a fight. This is a circus. But because it's Tank, who you got? Wasn't that the Netflix commercial? Wasn't that the Netflix ad? Who you got? So, who you got? All that stuff. Barbershops, in the car. Tank's too strong, but size matters. All this stuff. Who you got? That's the only question why, that's the only reason that question even got asked, was because it's Tank. But now that Tank is out the picture, there's nobody else people want to see, except for somebody that can actually knock him out. That's in their prime or relatively close, and it's actually a threat, actually a threat. And you know who that would be? Cruiserweight or heavyweight. And he ain't never taken them on for real competitive competition. Ain't never. So it's gonna be a shame. But he's in the rock and a hard place. He's in the rock and a hard place. Let me see. Wilder versus Jake Paul. Hey,
look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
That's the. You want to be real? I hope Wilder doesn't take that fight. But I'm gonna be honest. That's the only level of caliber competition that Jake Paul can fight from here on out. That's it. From the standpoint of spectacle. The only other name is Ryan Garcia, hypothetically. But even then, Ryan Garcia's at 147. The story would be because they sparred, or they had YouTube they did YouTube videos together. They had been training in the same gym at one point in time together. They had been able to be buddy at one point. That's the only instance. But even then, I don't even think that is big enough. It would sell in the talking point, absolutely. But we still run into the same issue. If Ryan Garcia knocks you out, it's over. If you beat Ryan Garcia somehow, well, where else is there for you to go? And there's none. And people even now, if you talk about that fight with Ryan Garcia, they don't even feel the hype of that fight because what? He lost to Rolly Romero. Rolly beat Ryan, and people don't want to see Rolly versus Jake. And Rolly can talk. People don't care. They don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see that fight. Why would I? He's got a belt. I want to see him defend it. I want to see him against Manny Pacquiao. Or Barrios. Somebody at 147. But not no. We don't want to see. People don't care. People ain't paying. We ain't paying for that. Nobody is. We don't want to pay for anything. We don't want to watch, anything that Jake Paul is a part of. At least I don't. But specifically, we don't want to see him versus Rolly Romero. This is not disrespect to Rolly. It's just there's no interest. Ryan Garcia has a story, but it doesn't have nearly as much interest that would be worthwhile going up against Jake Paul. And it wouldn't be nowhere close to the interest that got made with Tank versus Jake. It wouldn't. And you have to match or eclipse that. The only reason why this fight got made with Tank was because it eclipsed and or matched the very nature of hype that Tyson versus Paul had when it got over 140 million people watching the co-main event. Not even the main event, the co-main event had 140 million people watching that fight with Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Which is insane. Insane. The main event got over 200, 300 million. Eyes as a whole. If you're not matching or getting close to that, there's no way you're making that fight. And Ryan Garcia is not making that motion. Especially with this loss to Rolly. And with people still wanting to see him against Devin Haney. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. So the only person that would actually be a worthwhile threat would be to fight somebody in the heavyweight division. Or to fight somebody in the cruiserweight division. That can knock you out. Because there ain't nobody else that people are even interested in. Because you have doled down the effect of the illusion. Because you keep on doing the same thing over and over again. You're fighting somebody inexperienced. You're fighting somebody that's old. You're fighting somebody that's inexperienced and old. You're fighting somebody who's a legend, but he's old as dirt. You're fighting another UFC fighter. You're fighting a guy at 160 who was an addict for upwards of 10 years in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But the name was something. And now you're fighting somebody at 140 pounds who won't even fight at 140, at 135. When you fought at heavyweight. But he's one of the biggest names in the sport. The talent is there. The prime is there. The age is there. The experience is there. The championships, hey, they're there. But you're fighting somebody you're almost 100 pounds heavier than. That, again, skewed. Everything that was done with Jake Paul was done in a manner that did its best to minimize the public in seeing the true unfair advantage that was bringing into play with these types of fights. Which was a big deficit. But still, it didn't matter because, this man, he's got power in his right hand and everybody loves to hate him. So everybody loves to watch him because everybody wants to see him get beat. Again, the Floyd method, but with not nearly as much competition. And if he does fight against competition, guess what? It's at such a great deficit for the opponent that it's like you shouldn't take this fight at all. Because you're getting set up to lose. But it's maxed as a real fight. And now that facade is gone. Especially with this Tank fight. So now what you're going to do? Deontay Wilder. That's the biggest name that you can get that people would actually pay to watch. That's it. Anthony Joshua, you'll get knocked out in 3 rounds. In 2. You'll get knocked out worse than Francis Ngannou. You might not wake up if you fight Anthony Joshua. But you're going to fight. Don't forget, Archibald Beterbiev offered you a fight right after you won the championship against Bivol. He offered you a fight right after you beat Mike Tyson and you didn't respond at all. Daniel Dubois offered you a shot at his heavyweight championship legitimately directly after you beat Mike Tyson. When he knocked out Anthony Joshua and you didn't respond. You know why? Because he's not going to do it. But now he has to, or else there's nothing else to prove. Or there's nothing else he can go to. There's no deeper well he can delve into. There's no other legend he can go about because he fought the biggest name recognizable that we have in the boxing world today, even with the current state of boxing in Mike Tyson, just from a standpoint of notoriety. Outside of that, there's nothing else. There's nothing else. Except for you get knocked out by a heavyweight that is competing at a top 15 level. Or even better, even better, you fight Fabio Wardley. Huh? Even better, you fight Fabio Wardley. That's it. Even better, you fight Fabio. That is the only current championship level caliber competitor. Excuse me, let me rephrase it. Fabio Wardley is the only championship contending competitor who is on the cusp of an undisputed world title shot, who is undefeated and has the same level of experience as Jake Paul. And I'm not saying it in hyperbole. Jake Paul's been fighting for, what was it, with 6? We can say between 5 and 7 years. Fabio Wardley's been boxing for 10. And he's been learning everything on the fly. And he started boxing late. And he's relatively the same age as Jake Paul. That's the only person in the heavyweight division that literally fits every single bill of a on-your-level type of fight. And we know he's well above. He's getting ready to fight Usyk. So Lord knows, we know the talent level. But you get what I'm saying. That is the only thing that we're looking for now. Fight Fabio Wardley or somebody of that caliber with that level of experience. That's that dangerous. And he's not going to do it. So we ain't got nowhere else to go. And so people ain't going to care. People are not going to care. They're not going to care. He's at a rock and a hard place, and that hard place is starting to slide back. And that rock is getting sharper and sharper. It's going to be like Aang when he got pushed into that cliff or pushed into that rock and hit the nape of his back. Next thing you know, the butt started glowing blue. Like an aurora borealis. And it went insane. The Watkins got hurt. Got hurt bad. But it was out cold for about 2 episodes in Avatar: The Last Airbender. That man was gone. And that's what's going to happen to Jake Paul. Because he put himself in this position. There's nowhere else for you to go except for somebody that we know you can't beat. But that's the only reason why we'll pay. Somebody we know you can't beat and somebody we know is not in any way, shape, or form put behind the 8 ball when you make a fight with him. That's it. That's the only caveat he can do. Outside of that, he's done. Outside, there's nowhere else to go. He used up all of his lifelines. He went too high. He flew too close to the sun. He flew too close to the sun, and now he's about to fall hard. Because that wax is melting, like Icarus, where wax is melting. And so let me see. The stain of it wasn't selling, and Tank being trash per usual made it easy to cancel the fight. Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. And what other fight that can Jake Paul make that will get people invested? Because in my opinion, I don't think there is one. Even the best option, Ryan Garcia, but does anybody really want to see that type of fight? No, they don't. I don't think they do. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, fine. But I don't think they do. So he ain't got no other avenue unless we're somebody it's like, yeah, you can't beat them, but that's the only person we want to see you beat. You do that, great. If not, it's gonna be bad. Jake should stick to being a promoter and out in the boxing and out in the boxing matches for women's boxing. I would love that. Again, for women's boxing, and as a promoter, he's been able to make a slew of phenomenal cards. No question. But also that ability to promote hinges on his own success. He can't leave. At least not right now. Unless his promotion fails. Because he is the reason that promotion is selling the way that it's selling. He is the force. He is the ship that's driving all the ticket sales. Not because the other fighters aren't better than him on the card. They are. But because he is the outright biggest name. And this thing only lives if I'm living. Me just as a promoter right now against Eddie Hearn, against Quisenberry, and against all these other people, it won't be the same level at all. We might lose money more than making money if I don't make sure I keep on fighting and winning. I'm still too green and it's still too volatile for me to leave from this sport with my promotion as is. All of this is to make it so that this promotion can still thrive. Yes. And we hope it can thrive without him on the card. But right now, it's not there yet. At least from my vantage point, it's not there yet. And he's got to. But the way he went about it, it's such a top-heavy type of situation. The second he loses, I'm scared MVP is going to go down the drain. I hope it doesn't. But that's how fine of a line they're walking. That one loss from Jake Paul, all of a sudden, nobody wants to set. He can't get a big fight with somebody else ever again up until he gets to actual rankings. He can't get a mega type of event again because you got beat. And you ain't going after a championship. You're not going after a title. So we don't want to platform you. So he can't. Could he be a good promoter? Maybe. Will he be a promoter? Sure. For as long as he's winning. For as long as he's winning. If he doesn't win, he might be done. Scared, but he might be done. Let me see. Jake too popular to have started his career like a normal fighter, so he had to fight inexperienced or old boxers to still develop as a fighter and still sell tickets. I'm not saying that you aren't right, but I'm also saying that he doing this has created a slope that now he has to deal with. He is now, as a professional, let me look up his record. As a professional, he is, I believe, 12-1. Yep, 12-1. He's 12-1 now. Mind you, Moses Atalma is 14-0. Roy Jones Jr., by his 15th fight, was stepping up competition and getting ready to go into the title picture. Mike Tyson, after 15 fights, was getting into a championship level. And he fought 15 times in a year. He is at the stage where this was the building up stage to elevate your competition. And he hasn't improved nearly as much. And he's ran out of opponents at this level that would want to fight him. And even then, or that would want to actually, he's ran out of opponents that would keep this spectacle going unless it's a championship opportunity and or a fight with one of the biggest names in the world, which again, because of Tank going out, just left the coop. What is he now? Where he's no longer green. He's no longer just learning the sport. He's no longer just getting better. He now is a full-fledged, legit, at one point in time, ranked cruiserweight contender. He was in a position to have a shot at Zurdo Ramirez's title before outrage took him off the rankings. This man's got more fights than Carmel Moten. This man's been in the ring for nearly as long as Fabio Wardley. Consistent, no YouTube, just straight up boxing. Legit. And now, what do I always say? Once you get to 12-0, 13-0, okay, it's time to start stepping up competition. The run for a title starts now after this growth in your sentiment of you're learning the ropes. It's now time to start getting serious and looking for a championship opportunity if you can get it. Xander Zayas, same situation. We were saying, all right, it's 12-14-0. We want to see how this goes. Now it's time to start looking for real tests to push you. He's at that fork in the road now. But it's worse because of the fact that now nobody else, all these other fights were billed as I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the only way to stay in there, he's not going to be just fighting bums. Because last time he did that, guess what? Not even 100,000, barely even 50,000 people watched those fights. Because they were literal barroom brawls against the bottom barrel of boxers in the amateur world. Literally some of the worst. Not good at all. Out of shape. Overweight. Slow and sluggish. No technique. Fat. Telegraphing punches. Defense abysmal. All of that. He only fights when there's big money there. He ain't gonna fight to actually work his way up. So he got the fame without the work. And now the only way to keep that fame going is the work. The only way to keep that fame going is to actually have the work done. And now you got to do it in a way that you ain't prepared. It's going to be bad. And so it's a shame. Let me see. MS, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show that's on today. Talma stops Jacob One. My gosh, I almost forgot. Hey, I nearly forgot. Moses Talma's 13-0. Hey, ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? Moses Talma is 13-0 with, I believe, 12 knockouts, or 11 knockouts on his resume. Again, this is where Jake Paul is. It's going to be bad. And he can't fight anywhere below said spectacle threshold or talent threshold. Who in the world is a bigger name to fight than Tank Davis that will actually step in the ring with him? There isn't any. Because Ryan Garcia ain't a bigger name. Canelo, out of pride alone, will never take that fight with Terrence Crawford, with Jake Paul. Hope he rematches Terrence Crawford, but he may not ever take that fight as well. But he definitely won't take that fight. He'll never take that fight with Canelo. Because he used him as a pawn to get the deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. He ain't fighting Terrence Crawford because Terrence Crawford showing up ain't dealing with that stupid mess. We know he'll destroy him, but also he's not, like, again, no, I'm the man. I am the best boxer in the world, and he's about work. He ain't about no fluff, which is what Jake Paul is. Usyk, he ain't dealing with him because, again, Usyk's heavyweight. And he'll never fight an actual good heavyweight. Benavidez, you ain't going to fight David Benavidez. You'll never do that. He can get up to 190, 220 and be fine. There's no other name that's bigger than Tank that he could fight that would get people attracted. And there's no other talent that is bad enough for Jake Paul to say, yeah, that's a risk I can take. There's none. So he's stuck in the rock and a hard place. I'm happy, but also, it's a shame. It's a real shame. And then it's for me, it's disgusting. For me, it's just disgusting. I hate it. I despise it. But still, we have more to cover on the show. Please keep on liking the stream. Please keep on sharing the show. We have more things that we have to talk about on this whole saga because, again, this has taken up, sadly, this has taken up a whole host of time from the standpoint of what we've been able to have on our show on the docket. Because it was just too big to ignore from the standpoint of needing to discuss. Something just hit me. Hold on. I'm sorry. Last thing. This is the last thing. We're moving on. This is the last thing. Could we see Anthony Joshua fight Jake Paul? As much, again, I don't want to see it. But could we see that happen? If it ain't Deontay Wilder, as a potential heavyweight opportunity. If we're looking for names to peel from the barrel. Could it be that if we do see Anthony Joshua, that fight could happen? Because I think he's already scheduled for a fight in Ghana. It's either late December or early January in Africa. Could be that this fight with Jake Paul could be a potential tune-up that he takes and he feels, I can go on and do this like I did with Francis Ngannou, knock him out, keep my rhythm in the ring, and then beat him. Yeah, that could be a possibility. One of the biggest names in the UK. People hate him over in Europe as well. And you can potentially get with him. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he had that fight at Wembley Stadium as a potential venue. Or a big fight here in the States, because again, it's still Anthony Joshua. Regardless of what we see him as now, he's still a big name. He's on a decline. He is older. And he'll bring more money than about I think anybody else that we could see Tank or Jake Paul face outside of, again, Ryan Garcia. That would be a marketable name. But also a threat that it's like, okay, yeah, we'll actually see that fight because we know Jake Paul is going to get beat. And he doesn't have any metric that he can go and skew this into another favor. Because he's fighting somebody his own size. That be the only thing. That'll be the only other option. Nah, I don't see him ever taking that risk. Just me. I don't ever see him taking that risk. But again, I still would like to hear from you as time goes on. But let me see what you have to say. I don't like Jake Paul. So I had no clue MVP Promotions, what MVP Promotions even was. Hey, look, they've been like, the women's boxing has been insanely tough. The cards as a whole have been phenomenal. It's just, again, Jake Paul hides all. From the standpoint of, he is both the catalyst and the blinding light that makes people forget, oh, we got all these other things going on. And when he's gone, will he keep on supporting? That's what I don't know. That's my biggest concern. Once he's done with this sport, will he keep on supporting said sport? I don't know. I don't know. Because if we go by what he's done on the outside, he's been grimy in every metric. He's been sued on multiple occasions for doing dumb stuff and not doing work he was supposed to do. All this, walking away from projects, walking away from crypto, a bunch of it. Well, his crypto was Logan, but also I think Jake Paul has some stuff involved as well. Either way, him and his brother have both been in a bunch of turmoil because they've been in drama of where they have walked away from situations where you were supposed to stay here. And this could be another one of them. A cash grab while he's here, but once he's gone, you ain't gonna hear from him. Yeah, I did this, that, and the third. I did do this. I'm not doing it anymore. My next phase in life isn't in boxing. Watch. What? I guarantee you, whenever this ride goes away, my next phase in boxing, he's gonna have a whole video. It's not in boxing. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. If I'm wrong, hopefully, because again, the women's boxing he's put on has been incredible. The cards as a whole have been phenomenal. Could it be another promotion that actually gets people invested in the sport? Maybe, if they keep matchmaking like they've been doing. But still, it's a house of cards that if he folds, everything else folds with it. And he don't seem like the man that will stay around to rebuild it up or keep it standing. No, he don't. If track record serves him right, which is an absolute abysmal one, he gonna walk away. And it's gonna be a shame. It's gonna be a real shame. But again, from spectacle to reality, we still have to touch on, like we have in the thumbnail, with Devin Haney and Brian Norman and the rest of the actual November 22nd card. That's right. With everything coming down the lane, this is now the only card that we gotta worry about for the entirety of or at least the biggest card scheme they had to worry about for the entirety of the month, because everybody is standing and waiting to see this thing transpire and have everybody all up in arms for one of the biggest and most hyped up cards of the year. No question about it. With, again, headlined by headlined by Dave Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, but the coming event, which might actually bring more eyes to this card by the time it comes about, with Devin Haney and Brian Norman, has been still festering up interest, emotions, and outright investment from the wider scope of the boxing world. We got people now picking Devin Haney. We got more people than I realize are starting to go with Devin Haney. He's going to box him. He's going to out jab him. He's going to move with him. All this stuff left, right, and center. And with that being the case, we've had some other professional fighters have some opinions on in regards to this whole saga. Now, in the words of Brian Norman himself, in regards to how he feels about this whole fight, let me just play some clips to give you the mentality of what exactly Brian Norman is bringing to the table when it comes to getting into what is the biggest fight of his life, legitimately, in Devin Haney. And make sure I'm actually here. Can y'all see it? Okay, y'all can see it, absolutely. Yeah, now let's get to the nitty gritty. Yes, sir.
Think I'm just a power puncher, you feel me? But no matter what, it means nothing if you can't land it. So really, my IQ is where it's at. You can't catch my time, you can't catch my speed, you can't catch the power. And if you do catch it, you're going to shoot. So I'm just too well-rounded, I'm too versatile, too diverse, and not just for him, just for any and everybody. If you want to brawl, we can get into that. If you want to box, we can get into that. Whatever you want to do, we can get into that. So I'm not thinking about him. I just think about the man in the mirror. I know for a fact if I am the perfect me and the best me, ain't nobody see me. A lot of people think.
So this is a man who is incredibly, and I mean incredibly, confident in what he's able to do. He brings an old school flair from the way he talks, from the way he trains, from the way he boxes, from the way he his mannerisms, the identity that he brings to the ring. It is a callback to a very much old school 90s, 80s, 70s style of thinking when it comes to the boxing. Yeah, now, he's confident. We see other people talk as well, but it feels like a different vibe of sorts. Everything about him is a different vibe than with everybody else in the sport. Now, I'm not saying that's going to mean that he wins the fight. Be clear. Just because you might feel like, oh man, this brother is something serious and he might be something different. Don't matter, because I ain't going to win your fight. But that mentality can help. And what he is, as a fighter, thinking like this, hey, I'm not just a one-dimensional type of person, though that's what everybody thinks of me. I know I can do a multiplicity of things. And I'm ready to do it at any point in time. I like that. I love that. Hearing that shows me this man's, at least on paper, dedicated to making sure, yeah, I'm going to knock you out, but I'm not going to overlook that I got to be as much of a power-punching, destructive force as well as a technical, engaging entity. If he keeps on thinking like this and keeps on, if he fights like this on a night of fight, yeah, it can get dangerous. It can definitely get sketchy. But at the same time, if I can bring it up, we had, I believe, Richardson Hitchens. Let me make sure I got it up here for you all to be able to see. But we had also Richardson Hitchens bringing his own opinions on how this card is going to be and how this fight is going to go. In regards to what he feels when he looks at Devin Haney and when he looks at Brian Norman, who he's got winning this fight. And it's actually very interesting. I want to hear from you all on what you got to say on the matter after we play this clip right here. Oh, wait, it ain't showing. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second there. There we go. No, dang it. No, I'm in a loop. Oh, stop. I'm in the echo chamber. No, get out of this. Hold on a minute. Lord. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Oh, my gosh. Okay. There we go. Get this. Now we're here. Now we're good. Now we can play you the clip instead of you seeing my face over and over again. Here we go. Richard Hitchens, in regards to his opinion on Devin Haney versus Brian Norman.
Trainer had brung up the sparring. How, I mean.
Oh, yeah. And this is in regards to Brian Norman talking about, or Richard Hitchens talking about sparring with Brian Norman. His experience in the ring with Brian Norman and what he thinks is going to be with what he's felt against Brian Norman, how Devin Haney is going to fare.
The trainer had brung up the sparring. How dominant were you in this?
The sparring was like he's not on my level. Like he was not on my level. He was strong. You tell he was strong and with natural ability, quick reaction. But like as far as like boxing skill, like it was not. I didn't get out the ring. It was like it wasn't a puzzle to me. It was nothing to find out. I mean, you could tell like he's one of them guys in the gym that's like, you know, Atlanta, Georgia is not a really big boxing city. Brian Norman's not a guy I really heard about in the amateurs. You could tell he's a dedicated guy to his craft with the good natural abilities. But when it comes to like the pedigree that I got with, you know, being in the Olympics, being around guys like Shakur since a young kid, fighting guys like Boots and Gary, and it was just a whole different level. Like you could tell he's just not on that level.
Mm.
I mean, you see it you see it in the previous fights, and you're gonna see it in November. Like I'm not. You know, obviously people know I got a lot to say about Devin Haney.
Right,
You feel me? But I really don't think Brian Norman is on that level. And just because his daddy talking shit, nah, I really gotta tell the truth. Now you can't beat Devin Haney. At first, I was cool with Brian Norman, the junior. I was like, yo, I think you can beat Devin. Now since your dad talking, I ain't gonna lie, nigga, you can't beat Devin Haney. So he gonna have to shut me up, and I'm betting on you, Devin. So you better beat this nigga.
We do again, right? Like I said, like as always. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to bleep out some of this stuff. So again, viewers discussion advised. Apologies for the language, but regardless of which, you see how he feels. You see the sentiment, and apparently, from a technical ability, Richardson Hitchens is saying Brian Norman ain't on his level as a fighter. Now, I will even say, when in regards to this, I've been a known detractor of Richardson Hitchens from the standpoint of I didn't value him highly. Understandably so from what he had shown me over the last course of his last couple fights. But in his most recent one, hey, he shut me up. I believe he got a knockdown. He was also scheduled to fight, Kambosos. No, it was Kambosos. He went and fought Kambosos, beat him, stopped him. I believe he stopped him. He shut me up. I ain't had nothing else to say. I was like, hey, you proved me something that I didn't know you had in you as a fighter. So my thought process with him elevated up. Am I still a fan? Nah. But he gets my respect, and I have no issue saying it. Absolutely, no question about it. But with that being the case, even with the elevation, as a boxer, I now can say Richard Hitchens, oh no, he's a good fighter. He's a good boxer. Absolutely. He's a good technician. At his best, he can be a great technician. But when he elevates to that level, I don't know if he elevates there consistently. And I don't think that the sparring with Hitchens is going to be an indictment on what we're going to see Norman do against Devin Haney. One, because they're both two incredibly different technical fighters. And two, what Devin Haney struggles with, not the same thing that Richard Hitchens struggles with. So what Hitchens may feel like, oh yeah, I can handle this easy. He ain't that great of a fighter. Devin Haney, that ain't the case for him from the standpoint of the struggles. And I guarantee you, if this was a fight, like a real fight between Brian Norman and Hitchens, I don't think it would have been the same sentiment. He ain't all that special. Probably like we do in Spartan, probably working on stuff, probably trying to go through and train certain things, not going as hard as we normally see him go. That's normally how the case goes with Spartan. You're working on stuff. Even Fabian Wardley, when he talks about how he spars, he's not sparring to win. He spars to try to go through and work on things. You're probably going to beat him in sparring. You know why? Because I'm trying to train individual aspects and skills to make sure I can hone a certain aspect and craft. And so I'm looking to do something right, not just to win this spar. We'll see with Brian Norman. Now again, I'm not saying that's for certain. I'm just again speculating. To be clear, speculating. But best thing I can get, because and I also feel like at times he kind of bloviates a little bit when it comes to how sparring goes. Not all the time, but sometimes Richard just bloviates just a tad when it comes to what he talks about in the sparring and in the ring and with how bad somebody is or how great somebody else is. So it's a little bit of bias. But that's neither here nor there. Regardless of which, though we have him saying that Devin's going to mop the floor with him, I want to see, do y'all think that I want to see if you all agree. Or if you all feel that he might be talking a little bit of mess. He might be talking a little bit of hyperbole, a little bit of hyping up, rather than actually, that's not what this fight's going to be like. I want to hear from you all on the matter. Also, we got is it Kiski? I think it's Kiski. No, yeah, it's Kiski. What's going on, brother? Hey man, good to see you. Glad you're back. Appreciate you tuning in. So happy that you're with us on today on this Tuesday afternoon. We appreciate your time, your effort, your energy, and we're so glad you're joining in on us with this whole conversation. Let me see what you got to say on the matter. Brian Norman Jr. is going to knock out Devin Haney. Simple. A lot of people feel that, but I'm getting more and more sentiments that people think that Devin Haney is going to outbox and not get touched, or outbox Brian Norman and not get touched at all, and it's growing just quickly enough. The sentiment surrounding, at least with some people surrounding the boxing world, I'm like, okay, maybe there is something there. I still don't see it, which has been a consistent problem. I don't see where the issue, or rather where the success of somebody like a Brian Norman or of somebody like a Devin Haney can come in regards to this fight against Brian Norman Jr. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. I don't see where the success of Devin Haney can happen in this fight with Brian Norman Jr. Because every single time I talk about it, it comes to the same conclusion. Brian Norman can stop it. Brian Norman's got to counter for that. Brian Norman won't be fazed by that, whatever the case may be. And every situation is going to be, you're going to be put into a bad circumstance where you will have to fight. There is no opportunity in this boxing fight, or there's no opportunity in this fight where it's just going to be all boxing. Devin Haney's going to be forced into a fight like he was with Ryan Garcia, like he was against Lomachenko, but he is not going to be successful. And he's not going to be able to box his way out of it. That's what I'm concerned with. That's what I'm concerned with. Brian Norman Jr. is being overlooked. Haney is not untouchable. Absolutely he's not. Cambosos is a C-level fighter. He absolutely is. He absolutely is. From the standpoint of, or C-minus level fighter. He again, beat Teofimo Lopez. Got to give him credit for that. But since then, it's been a very much uneventful type of career going forward. All due respect to him. But just it is what it is. His level of fighter. He's exciting. He's ferocious, just like his name. But it ain't, you know, it just ain't. With all due respect. That's why I give that win respect. And I look at Hitchens different. But I don't look at him as top tier. Because he's not top tier. And if we're being completely honest, Richard Hitchens may say that Brian Norman is not on the level of himself or of Devin Haney, which is fine. As a boxer, that's perfectly fine. But neither was Ryan Garcia. Neither was Ryan Garcia. Now again, yeah, PEDs, absolutely. The picogram, whatever the word, however much it was. All that, well and good, fine. Ryan Garcia wasn't on the boxing level of Devin Haney, even with PEDs. We knew that. Going into this fight, we knew that he wasn't on that level of a boxer. We knew he was not a technician. He was a physical, imposing threat whose speed and quickness was the biggest thing that made him a dominant threat to anybody else in that division. And because of the size at which he was a big brother at 135 and at 140 still. It went in now at 147. He's still a big cat. We as a whole were saying, yeah, that's what's going to win him today. If he's able to be physical with Devin Haney, and lo and behold, it happened. Brian Norman is a way better fighter than Devin Haney, than Ryan Garcia. That's the truth. Brian Norman is a better boxer and a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. So if we're saying that he wasn't on his level, Ryan Garcia wasn't either. Ryan Garcia was able to do this to Devin Haney. What the words is somebody who's going to be able to be better than Ryan Garcia with the same or similar caliber of physical attributes going up against Devin Haney? What is he going to be able to do? Worse, you would assume. You would assume. So I don't think that it's a situation where Ryan Garcia, where Devin Haney is just leagues above Brian. I don't. More accomplished, better career. undisputed champion formerly, beat Lomachenko, did all this great stuff, and has been fighting or trying to get in the ring with every single reputable name that he can. But even with that being the case, it's still a concern that the brother is not built to beat this man. Because this might not be better. Or rather, Brian Owen may just be built as the perfect formula to counter whatever Devin Haney brings to the table. Even with the speed being the biggest potential pitfall in this fight. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Very interesting. But let me see. Nobody thought Ryan would beat Haney. People said Haney outboxes him. And look what happened. Yeah, see, absolutely. Absolutely. It's literally the same sentiment of what happened last time. And it could very well happen again. I'm surprised people are not questioning Devin Haney's power at 147. I'm interested to see how his power carries at 147. Well, see, here's the thing. They're not questioning him because they don't think he has it. They don't. That's the thing. There's no question because he doesn't have it. Last time he had power was at 140 when he in his debut fight with Regis Prograis. After that, it's been business as usual. There's no pop in Devin Haney's game at all. He's not a power puncher. So we're not questioning whether he can be strong. We're questioning whether he can be the same physical fighter. Using his length, using his reach, using his speed, in combination with his boxing to control and stop what the opponent wants to do. But at this bigger size, where people are closer to his level, especially with somebody like Brian Orman Jr., of a physical person, with the technical stuff also backing up even more, now we're really asking, well, hey now, when somebody got on your level like with Ryan Garcia at 147, even at a catchweight, all of a sudden, a lot of the stuff that you did as a boxer didn't work because the very thing that made you work as a boxer wasn't there anymore, and that was the physical advantage. Once that gets taken away, all of a sudden stuff gets mitigated. Lomachenko mitigated what your length and height was as a boxer and your reach, was able to get on the inside and won the second half of the fight all the way up until round 12. And you had to dig down and try to box him or try to fight him and brawl Lomachenko because you couldn't box with him after the second half of the fight came about. And he was winning. Ryan Garcia brawled with you and took you out 4 or 5 times. When he took breaks is only when you got successful. But if he moved forward, you weren't doing anything. Because you couldn't do anything. Because you were getting knocked down. And you couldn't pivot your way. You couldn't turn your way. You couldn't jab your way out of trouble. You couldn't. You couldn't. Once Ryan Garcia committed to moving forward, you couldn't do anything. This same sentiment can happen again. It very well can happen again. So that's why we're not questioning what he is at 147, power-wise, because there's no power to question. Unless you're saying he might get power at 147, I don't know. He's saying he'll stay and fight, or somebody's saying he's saying that he's prepared to stand and bang and go to war with Brian Orman. At least that's what I believe that's what Bill Haney is saying. And I'm like, well, if you do that, fine. But if you also do that, you're prone to get knocked out. Not just prone, it's almost, I dare say it's likely. You get knocked out. If you go and try to really, and I mean really, stand toe-to-toe with Brian Orman Jr. and say, I'm going to fight you. I'm not just going to box you, I'm going to fight you. You do that, you're set. I truly do believe you're setting yourself up for a world of trouble. You're setting yourself up for a big world of trouble. And it's a dangerous road, man. It's a dangerous road. I'm really concerned for Brian Orman, or for Devin Haney. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really concerned. Let me see. I'm excited for the Virgil Ortiz, Eric Lubin fight coming up. Wait, that is coming. Wait, is that the what date is it? Hold on. Let me make sure I got the date right. Is that the end of the month or is that sooner? Let me make sure. Archie with Lubin. What's that? What's that date? Let me make sure I got that date right. That is the. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's this weekend. Oh, shoot. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Whoa. Whoa, wait a minute. My gosh, he's doing in lieu of all this stuff. In lieu of all this stuff, I completely forgot that fight was happening this week. Oh, shoot. My gosh, well, if that's the case, then we might as well go and do what we do best. We've done covered everything that we can on the biggest frame. Now it's time to go into the championship round. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, sir, it's time to work. It's time to shine. It's time to make this show sublime. Let's go into the championship rounds right now. Whatever you want to discuss in the boxing, basketball, NBA, NFL, movies, sports, video games, TV, all that stuff, we can discuss it right now. Your opinions, your debates, your thoughts, your concerns on anything we talked about in the show, or even what we didn't get to discuss, or just stuff you want to ask me. Hey, if I can talk about it, I can be about it, and I can discuss it with you all, but it's your time to shine. 30 minutes to an hour. Let's see what you got to say on the matter. Well, no, excuse me, 15 to 30 minutes on the show. We're going to give y'all time to shine. Let's see what y'all got, and let's have this ourselves a day show. Come on, let's end this show off strong. Let's get it going. Let's get it bumping. It's time to work. Yes, sir. And we ready. We started. Let's get it going right now. Real quick, let me keep on answering this. I'm excited for the Virgil Ortiz Lubin fight. I am as well, and it's going to be a barn burner this weekend, November 8th. Excuse me, I believe it is November 8th, right? Let me make sure. Yes, it's November 8th. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Thursday. Thursday. We're going to delve deep into that fight on Thursday, because that's going to be a war. Mind you, one of that most likely is getting boots. One of that's getting boots. And the real kerfuffle and the real hullabaloo that's going about with the super welterweight 154-pound division, that's going to transpire. That's going to come about, and that's going to be the nitty-gritty. That's going to be dangerous. That's going to be great. Let me rephrase it. That's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait for that. I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be incredible. And I'm telling you, I got Ortiz by knockout. But I know Lubin's going to turn this into a brawl. But if it turns into a brawl like it did with Fundora, I think it's going to end the same way as well. Because I still think the same, on the inside work, the same stuff that got him in trouble against Fundora is the same thing that can happen against Virgil Ortiz, especially against which is crazy enough to say, because Fundora can hit like a brick, but a harder puncher, what I would consider, outside of Bacron and Boots, the most dangerous puncher at 154 right now, is Virgil Ortiz. Again, outside of those two names. Bacron. Bacron, Virgil, Boots. You get in a firefight with them, most likely, if you aren't able to keep your wits about you on the inside, you're going to get worked to pieces. Lubin's going to come in he's going to come in scrapping. But boy, he's going to get broken down. I think it's going to get broken down. Again, we're going to discuss it more on Thursday, but I do think he's going to get broken down and beat up and lose that fight, in my opinion. Let me see. And Brian Owens is confident he can get the KO. So far, Brian has proved all of his predictions right. Like I said, I'm not going to bet against him. His fighting style matches the mentality and how he gets those knockouts. It's not just a brazen, I'm coming in, I'm rushing in, I'm just so strong, boom, boom. He is able to set stuff up incredibly well. Incredibly well. People are really over. I don't know why people are overlooking that, but they really are. They really are. Let me see. Who backed out? Jake or Tank? So it was Jake and Netflix, more importantly, that backed out of the fight. Also, Daryl Anderson, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Appreciate you joining in with us. Leave a like on the stream. Keep on sharing the show. If you want to support the channel, like I said before, Cash App, PayPal, links down below. But again, we're going to keep the show running. Jake Paul and Netflix, got to emphasize, Jake Paul and Netflix backed out of this fight because of the allegations that reportedly from Jake Paul, they have video evidence of, which are true, of the kidnapping and assault of his ex-girlfriend at a club. So, the whole event got canceled. Nobody's fighting on November 11th. It's getting rescheduled for December 13th, and we don't know who's going to be on that card. I have my concerns, like I said at the start, earlier in the show, of who's going to be that opponent. Because if he doesn't match the level of a Gervonta Davis, it's going to be very hard to get people intrigued for a fight with Jake Paul unless it is somebody that is indeed in their prime, same size, similar weight, similar or better experience, who's been in the sport all their life type of fighter. Which again, we brought up Deontay Wilder. We brought up Ryan Garcia, but even then, I don't know that Oscar De La Hoya said that fight ain't going to happen. And we brought up Anthony Joshua as a potential opportunity. Of those fights, the only fights that would actually make sense to have them happen, in my opinion, outside of Ryan Garcia, which again, I still don't think people want to see that fight nearly as much, though it would be a spectacle, which off the backs of a loss to Willie Romero, would be Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua. From a cash and intrigue of, oh, he's going to get beat. That's the only reason why people have been watching these fights, because they think he's going to get beat. Put him against Wilder, I guarantee he's going to sell. You know why? Because Wilder, the great, you only need 1 second. And I doubt that Jake Paul, I know Jake Paul can't do nothing with that. And Wilder ain't a great boxer at all. He can't do nothing with that. And Anthony Joshua, well, that speaks for itself. He'll be Ngannou, but worse. And he ain't fighting Ngannou either, because Ngannou said that's disrespectful to call me and say that you want to replace me for a fight and you will get ready to fight Tank Davis. Who do you think I am? It's not about the money. It's about the disrespect that you would even insinuate that I would want to be a part of that. Again, that's his words, not mine. And Ngannou's words, not mine. And I'm glad he feels that way. But even still, that's what's going on. Oh, yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. All that's going about. And it's like it makes sense because this case is going to court. Netflix, like I said before, Netflix wouldn't be pulling out. And Jake Paul wouldn't be pulling out of this type of event if it wasn't for that they had something substantial that they seen. That it's like, okay, yeah, this fight ain't happening. Unless they, because again, Jake Paul allegedly said they have video evidence that, yeah, all this took place. Somebody recorded it. Somebody got it out. Somebody sent it to the police and to Jake Paul's team, whatever the case may be. And now, yeah, we can't let that slide type of stuff. Read the statement from Jake Paul. The Netflix had the statement as well. You can look up on their website and on Twitter. So it's a shame. We're happy that it's not happening, but man, not like we didn't want it to be like this. I'm gonna tell you that. We did not want it to be like this at all. So it's a shame. It's a real shame. But there was something else I wanted to say. Again, we're still in the championship rounds, by the way. We still want to hear your thoughts and opinions on whatever you want to have in the world of boxing and beyond. But there was something else I did want to make sure we at least try to touch on in lieu of having the championship rounds intact. But we still got some people commenting. So let me read their comments first before we go through. Let me see. Twice. Yep. Twice. You right. Wrote it in, and it's a shame. Since when did Jake Paul ever cared about this? And it's like, again, we brought it up as well. His whole statement. You can read his whole statement. He talked about how he champions women. He has a whole promotion field with women's boxers, and he can't go putting the money in somebody's pockets who is, again, a domestic abuser and all that stuff. All that stuff you can read in his statement on Twitter. Absolutely. And it's like, it's good that he took a stand, but if he really felt that way, he wouldn't have taken the fight in the first place with Tank Davis, with all the other 4 to 6 other allegations and indictments that happened with him in the past. Some of which got paid off, some of which got dropped, some of which stayed. But again, we called that out as well. So it ain't, you know, we hate that this is a situation, but this is where we are. And both of them ain't got nowhere to go now. Tank can't get help lest he'll lose his fire. And Jake can't fight anybody that isn't talent-wise extremely above his level anymore. Because people don't care. Because once you jump the shark with Tank, I mean, like, where else do you go except for, hey, I have to fight somebody that is at cruiserweight or heavyweight, that is a real threat. That is in their physical prime still. And that is really built to beat me. And I got to beat them to keep this train going. And so, after he says, yeah, Jake Paul, he's stuck. He's stuck. Like I said, in my opinion, he's stuck. I just don't know where it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with how Netflix rescheduled this. Because we know Netflix is only going to put on events in boxing that are some of the biggest in the world. Crawford versus Canelo. Jake Paul versus Tyson. You're not putting on the all-women's boxing affair. That was one of the best women's cards that we had. Yeah, it was headlined by the worst of the three Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano fights. But again, it was at that point in time one of the biggest rivalries that women's boxing had ever seen. And it sold out the stadium they were in. It sold out a huge stadium that they were at. Huge. It was like 60,000, 70,000 people. So, like, this ain't, whoever they get has got to sell out whatever stadium that they're gonna make a fight in. Whoever they get is gonna have to sell out whatever venue they make or that they buy out. And ain't many names now that people gonna be willingly paying for, except for people that we know can beat them. Or again, Ryan Garcia. And Oscar De La Hoya said, "Nah, we ain't doing that fight. We ain't, because you under contract." He's not. Oscar De La Hoya won't even won't let that fight happen. Because Ryan's fighting for a title. I think Ryan's actually, Ryan just got cleared. I believe, was it the WBA? It was either the WBA, it was either the WBO, or the WBC. Whatever belt commission banned him from getting an opportunity at a title. Because again, he popped dirty. He got banned for a year. But he still wasn't eligible to win, I believe, to win like championships. That ban got lifted. Again, the fight with Rolly was for the regular title, not the super title. Rolly got turned into the super champion. But now he's clear. So title opportunities right there. Would you take that fight? I would hope not. I would hope not. I would. The world. It sounds like there's ain't nothing in here. It might be my headphones. It's like it might be static. Something's buzzing in my ear. And I am thinking that it is something around me. But it's my, that's what it was. My doggone headphone jack. Wasn't the other way. But he was that with Jake Paul, that's where we're at right now. Sadly, that's what we're at. I just have a feeling Ortiz and Boots won't happen because Boots turned down the fight twice. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Please don't say that. We can't afford for that to happen. Not after all the noise that we heard, Eddie Hearn, Boots, and the impact of that fight with Lima, all of that. I got people in my family all of a sudden are very excited to see what Boots does now. They ain't even big in the box. But all of a sudden, hey, who is this character? Who is this brother? Who is he fighting next? I've been hyping up this fight to everybody I can think of. Barring Virgil Ortiz losing, we're going to have one of the most anticipated fights at 154 that is going to be the spark to get this entire 154-pound division moving beyond just what's the word? We're just here beyond just names, because now the whoever wins that would be the biggest of fish from the standpoint of monetarily, and then would be able to move people into wanting to take a fight with him. Because now the risk and reward are worth it for me. Because this guy's got cachet, money, and acclaim, along with talent that would push me up if I beat him. I can't not take this chance. Just like with everybody in Canelo. The money's too big. So I don't care if I know I'm going to lose. I'm going to fight him regardless. Because guess what? I'd be a fool to waste this opportunity. That's where you want to be, and that's what's going to happen with this fight. I'm not saying it's going to dictate indeed who's the best boxer at 154, because again, if we're going to keep the standard like with last time, it's going to have to be you become either unified or beat at least 2 of the 4 biggest names in the division, based on what we said with this channel when it came to Boots. Last time we were saying was he the best fighter at the previous division 147. So we're going to keep that same consistency. Fine. But it's a lot easier when it's worth your while. And everyone's that fight's going to have that level of cachet to him, which is going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. Let me see. Who's suing Tank anyway again? So it is allegedly it's been taken to the police that Gervonta Davis, or it's been taken to the belief. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hold on. Time out. Let me get something to drink. Allegedly, it's been taken to the police by the ex-girlfriend of Tank Davis. That Tank Davis went into a club and kidnapped and assaulted his ex-girlfriend. And apparently, per Jake Paul's own words, it was caught on video. So, though that counteracts the ESPN report that it was in a room with no cameras, if Jake Paul's saying that they got a video, that means that somebody in the facility or somebodies in the facility recorded said assault and kidnapping. And the police have seen it, or Netflix and Jake Paul's team have seen that footage. I can only assume. So that's why he's not being sued. He's been taken. This is criminal. Be clear. Be clear on this. This is not suing. Be clear. This is not suing for money. This is a legitimate allegation that can be indicted and convicted upon Tank into spending upwards of potentially 12 years in jail or more. Be clear. This is a felon. This is a felon. This is a egregious level of felon on multiple counts. If he does indeed get convicted of this, it's kidnapping and assault. It's bad. It's really bad. It is incredibly bad. Let me see, Bobby. I'm surprised you aren't monetized. Well, again, we're waiting on YouTube to do their part now. Oh, let's wait in this time. I'm trying to. The more subscribers we get, the more people we view, the bigger money we can make. Absolutely. Again, I do this for the love of the game, but also, this is my job. I ain't trying to do this as my place of work. I got Cash App and PayPal. I got Cash App and PayPal. Absolutely, but at the same vein, we're trying to make an empire, make a community, self-sustaining, and then afterwards we can get sponsors, we can get people clicking links, we can do giveaways if we make enough money. Oh, who knows what we can have happen with this channel? But it's all with you and your support. You can make it happen. Absolutely, just sitting down, talking, listening, and sharing and liking the stream helps us out immensely. Just that alone is enough. So that's why we value everybody here. Because again, I wouldn't be here without you all. And hopefully I'm bringing content, information, and fun that you all enjoy. It's engaging. It's intriguing. You may not even be invested in sports as a whole, but it's just fun to listen to. Whatever the case may be, hopefully you feel like you're a part of the conversation and you're enjoying the ride. That's all I can care about. Because I just want to make sure you are enjoying your day. And hopefully we're making your day just a little bit better. A little bit better. Shining a little bit of light on whatever you're going through, good or bad, just don't matter. Just that this can be a space that, hey, you can feel like, you know what, everything's going to be okay, because it is going to be okay. I promise you. I guarantee you, it's going to be fine. Not saying that you're going through something, but just in general, that type of atmosphere. Love each other, respect each other. We have fun. We get discourse, and our goal, boxing and beyond, is to help make the sports world better. We talk about the NBA. We talk about the NFL. Though we need to start talking about that some more. I'm going to make sure I make some segments on that for next week. But this is a one-stop shop, baby. You can get whatever you want. Just ask the question, and I can be about it, and I can talk about it. Absolutely. It's your chance to act it. I'm like, what's that? I was going to say, what's that carnival game? Where like you put a coin in, and this dude in a glass tells your fortune or something like that. I'm not saying I'm a fortune teller, but hey, you can come to me and ask a question. And we can have a whole conversation. Absolutely. It's great. So we're going to get there. It's coming. I'm telling you, the process is in the works. Hopefully it don't take longer than 2 weeks. Hopefully it comes through tomorrow that we can actually finish all this process. But we are in the final stretch. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We almost there. Oh, we're going to be making money, making bank. I can't wait. It's going to be so exciting. Oh, yes, indeed. And I can pay some bills. Oh, man. I can pay some bills and then treat myself to all of the frivolous affairs that I have in store for me. Oh, man. But it's going to be fun. And I appreciate all of your support nonetheless. Let me see. Who will take over Victor Conte's business? I don't know. I don't know who's going to take over the snack supplement brand. I don't know who's going to take over his advisory role against Vada, or with Vada, excuse me, in regards to showing how drug tests go about. Like I said, controversial figure. Did some good later half of his career. Did some bad early half of his career. He's a polarizing figure. People love him and people hate him. No question. And again, what he did, some people say what he kept on doing up until sadly pancreatic cancer took his life, which again, rest in peace to him. But people have some opinions. Oh gosh, we have some opinions. But I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen to the snack. I assume his brother was 75 years old. I assume there were things in place for somebody to take his spot. But I don't know. His advisory role with Vada, I also don't know. I did a plethora of things. I just don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see what comes about. And if we do start seeing people that were on or under snack and working with Victor Conte, popping dirty, subsequently in their next up-and-coming fights, like with Devin Haney, like with, I even dare say, Terrence Crawford, which, again, I do not believe is going to happen. But if, in fact, this does start taking place, all of a sudden that shines an egregious spotlight on the notion that, hey, all of y'all who are saying that Conte has been dirty this entire time with snack and everything else were right. And it's going to be a very bad indictment. But again, that's all speculation because we don't know. As of right now, it's sad that he died. And the opinion is going to be strewn all over the place. I guarantee you. But the future, I can't say for certain, but I would say watch interestingly. I'd watch very interesting, very much. Watch intensely. That's the word I was looking for. Watch with very much high level intensity to see what is going to happen with fighters under snack and with Conte's business as a whole. We also want to make sure that he wasn't able to do bad stuff under the radar with him knowing the process. And if that's the case, that he wasn't doing anything, then ain't nothing's going to happen. If it was, then, hey, we're going to find out. That's the thing. At least that's my vantage point. What do you think about Armando Resendez versus Edgar Berlanga? So, Resendez, that was the brother that beat Caleb Plant, correct? Let me make sure. I believe. Armando Resendez was the same brother that beat Caleb Plant in, was it early 2020? I think it was early 2025. Like early this year when Jermell Charlo came back. Yeah. That was it. He's the brother that beat Caleb Plant, split decision. And deservedly so. Deserved that win. Now going up against Berlanga at 168. Now this is Berlanga is at an interesting point in time right now. Because Berlanga is going to be in a situation where this is a must win. I'm gonna be clear with you right now. This is a must win. This is a must win for Edgar Berlanga. I can't put it simply. It's a must win for Edgar Berlanga. It is a must win. Resendez, honestly, I thought was going to fight Jermell Charlo. Or Jamal Charlo. Whatever Charlo that Caleb Plant was going to fight. But that fight never transpired. Though it should have, because you were the man that beat Plant. He was going to fight that fight. You should be the guy to fight. But got done wrong. Absolutely. Got done over. Now, you against Berlanga after the Shiraz knocked him out, you have an opportunity to stifle the career of one person and elevate your own if you were Cindy's. And if he can't, now I'm not saying he's going to be able to do the same thing that he did to Plant because of the type of fighter that Berlanga is. It's not going to be the same fight. But he needs to understand, Vicente needs to understand his position. Hey man, if I lose, yeah, it'll be bad, sure. But I can recover. If Berlanga loses this fight now, that I can put this man in a bad way. I need to fight just like I did against Caleb Plant, where I'm not just some underdog or unknown brother or somebody just coming in and just so happens to get an opportunity. No. I'm coming in to not to put my stamp, but to potentially put a immovable stopgap in the career of somebody else. Because Berlanga also needs to recognize, hey man, you are in trouble from the standpoint of the recognition from the global landscape. Yes, you're still in the competitive nature, but with that knockout to Shiraz, you're in a bad way from an optic standpoint for the rest of the boxing globe. You lose again right now. That divisional gap with Martinez, with Mbili, with Shiraz, with Canelo, with Charlo, who's moving up to 168, all of that is going to just get further and further away. Further and further away. And we don't want it to be an afterthought, but he could turn into one. If we lose this fight with Vicente. So I'm not going to lie, I'm worried for Edgar Berlanga. On if he truly understands the gravity of what this fight is going to be for him and how he approaches this fight. Fixing a lot of things that he's messed up with as a technical boxer. He doesn't do that, man. He's going to lose this fight. He's going to lose. I guarantee you. He's going to lose. Let me see. Caballero will defend his WBC interim heavyweight belt versus Damian Kaiba. Or is it Kainba? Hopefully, excuse me if I'm saying the name wrong. It's a shame Caballero should be getting a bigger fight. Well, again, nobody wants to fight him. Nobody wants to fight. No, that fight with Big Bang Jang made people not want to get in the ring with him. I understand he is one of the bigger boogeymen in this division. Not just because of the hype. No, people don't want to fight this man. He's the interim champion, absolutely. And again, he'll probably be getting a fight with Usyk if Usyk keeps on reigning. Eventually. Because Usyk got a 5-fight deal. His words, not mine. Say he wants to retire at 41. His words, not mine. So we watch and see how it goes. But he gonna get a shot. But he has to do what Joseph Parker and Dillian White couldn't do. He's got to hold on to that belt. If he does, he will get his mandatory. But he can't. Caballero's too big of a threat that if he loses, people will not risk him. Because then the weight, risk and reward, too much. He's got too much of an engine. He's too relentless. He's too good with his body attack. He's got better stamina than most people in the heavyweight division as a whole. He can get up for some of the biggest punches in the world. Again, he got knocked down by a tired Big Bang Jang. But he got caught and put down. Yes, he did. But he got up and kept on moving like it was nothing. Still, if you get put down by Big Bang Jang, that's most likely, I don't care what state Jang is in, it's the beginning of the end for you. That's one of the heaviest punchers in all of the heavyweight division. Period. The fact that Joseph Parker got up twice was insane. Caballero getting up was insane. And knocking him out was even more insane. People don't want that. They don't want to deal with that. But that's why he's not getting his shots. That's why he's not being called out. That's why people ain't bringing up his name. That's why people in the heavyweight division are actively looking away from that man. They're seeing Moses Atalma because he is too big name-wise and talent-wise to ignore because he's coming up on everybody's heels quick and in a hurry like that. But Caballero is not as known of a name, but he's just as big of a threat. But because he's not that big of a name, or as big, people will say, I don't need to bring him up because I don't want to. Because I want to be the man that he gets his shine with over me. Because I know he can beat me. I know he can give me some trouble. Oh boy, I know he can. I know he can. But he cannot lose his belt. I'm gonna say this for the hope of Caballero. He can't lose his belt. He loses his belt, he loses his shot. At least for the immediate future, I guarantee you, not just because it's an interim belt, but because he would get further iced out from the heavyweight division because people don't want that smoke. I tell you, if Moses Talbot comes up and says, hey, yo, I want to fight you, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be as much surprised, but just shocked that, oh, shoot, he's taking on that test. My gosh. If Fabio Worley fought Caballero and he didn't get his shot with, if he didn't get a shot with Usyk again, I would be shocked. Because people don't want to risk that. People don't want to risk that, I guarantee you. Let me see. Keyshawn versus Hitchens, I heard a possible fight might get paid. If so, who are you taking? Keyshawn Davis. Not even a question. Not even a question. Not even a question. Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn against Hitchens. Keyshawn all day. Keyshawn all day, every day. Like I said, I respect Hitchens. But I still think this man is of the weaker champions, even at 140. And I'm guaranteeing you right now, Keyshawn does not want to fight, or excuse me, Hitchens does not want to fight Keyshawn Davis. Now, what Keyshawn we're going to get with him getting himself right outside the ring, taking time off, being very much away, fine, cool. But what Keyshawn we get from this remaking of him mentally, we're going to find out. But if it's the same Keyshawn, then yeah, Keyshawn Davis all day by knockout. Oh yeah, by round 6. Hitchens gets beat up if he fights against Keyshawn Davis. Hitchens gets put to sleep quick and in a hurry. Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. If that fight, yes, he does. He gets put out in a bad way. In a bad way. Let me see. It's November now. Out of all the times you're gonna go to the it's again involving with Tank. Yeah, it's a shame. I hate it, but sadly it's what it is. Let me see. I think Bakram is going to deliver a devastating beating on Kell. Hope his corner is ready to throw in the towel to save Kelly. I mean, we'll find out. If anything, Bakram has got to put on a dominant display. It's got to be something spectacular because he can't keep complaining that I'm not getting a fight and that people don't want to fight me, but you're not doing the stuff to make it so you're unavoidable. Even with the belt around your waist, it's crazy. Because crazy enough, there's bigger fists, or there's bigger names, though you have a belt, there's bigger names in that division that people are focused on. And you're too scary of an opponent. You gotta, if you KO Kelly, you better talk your talk for the next month. I'm talking about everybody. Don't you leave a stone unturned with the name that you call out, because you have to. Because the last time that you stayed silent, it was almost a year, and you didn't get no play from anybody, and you ended up being almost forgotten, or at least we kept questioning, hey, brother, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to be? Where is your focus? Or are you just sitting out? And this was with the focus of the division off of Bakram and on the other competitors at 154. Yet still, he was getting questioned because he was doing nothing. To a degree, it seemed like he was holding that belt hostage. This is worse than just, oh, you're only fighting one time a year. You're only fighting one time a year, and you're in complete isolation, and you ain't even calling out people. And you're just saying, I hope I get a fight. I hope something happens. Well, guess what? Call out somebody. Make something happen. Janibek kept on calling out. He keeps on talking about Crawford. Keeps on saying, hey, Crawford, let's make it happen. got his name further in the atmosphere on top of this fight with Arizona Lara. He keeps on teasing, hey, we got something planned. We got something, at least giving the public something to latch onto. Bakram just stayed silent. And I hate it. I hate it. I despise it. I despise it. He's got to move better because if he doesn't, this knockout, if he does get a knockout, if he does get a stoppage, it could still be all for naught if he isn't able to push the envelope of the division and force him to be not ignored. He's got to do that. He's got to do that. Because he should be one of the most polarizing figures in the division. But it's on the fault of the promoter, like I said before, but it's also on the fault of the fighter to not make enough noise of what he wants to do, of what he's trying to do. And I don't like that. Let me see. Off topic, a guy made an Inoue Inoue song. Wait, for real? For real? Wait, hold on. Somebody made a song about Inoue? Well, I mean, I'm going to say this. People made a song about LeBron. Multiple songs about LeBron. People made songs and ballads about other players in other sports. Football, basketball, baseball, especially baseball. But I think this is the first time I've heard of one for a boxer. I've heard of Joe Frazier singing songs. And he could actually sing, had a band and everything he would travel with. He was actually pretty good. He was actually really good. While he was heavyweight champion, it was insane to see somebody that relentless sing that well and be that much of an actual he got some stage presence. There's actually something there. But I ain't heard somebody making a song about a boxer. Wow. I've heard him making a poem. I think there was a poem made about Jack Johnson when he beat Schmeling. But I ain't heard of a song before. But I'm going to say, if you do make a song, that's a fighter you would sing about. I'm going to say that. Because now I will say, I thought if anybody was going to have a song made about them, it would be Canelo. I assumed if I ever heard that come from anybody's name, it would be Canelo Alvarez. Because again, it's Canelo, the biggest star currently. Still, you can consider the biggest star in the world today in the frame of boxing and with Mexico, had been the poster child for that entire country, that entire sect of people, that entire nationality for upwards of a decade plus, almost 15 years. Sitting at the top and rising through the ranks and becoming seen as almost unbeatable. Almost. Let's say for, again, Crawford, Bivol, and Floyd. That's what I was thinking, Floyd. I'm surprised he didn't get a song singing about it, but even still, in a way, this is the type of play. And you know what? I'm going to be a little bit, not even a little, I'm going to be a whole lot unbiased for this one particular segment. I'm going to be unbiased for this one particular segment. Wait. Oh, you weren't lying. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is it this? This is, wait a minute. Hold on. Is this is real? Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is real. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know. I think it came out like 2021. I didn't know that. But I'm a glaze. I don't care. I'm a glaze. Hey. You should be singing about Inoue. You should be. Doggone it. You better. Because this man's worth the hype. He's got the power for pound, of anybody you can think of. The speed of a gazelle. The instincts of a doggone hummingbird. Or rather, the reaction time of a hummingbird. Left, right, up, down, don't matter where he's moving to. It's all perfection. It's insane. He sees you, he knows he sees you step in the ring before it happens. This brother knows a fight's coming before it even gets signed on the dotted line. He has seen the future and it's rewritten the past. That is how bad in a way is as a fighter. Okay. Like I said, hey, look, if anybody wants me to be a hype man, if anybody, hey, I hope and pray anyway comes and sees some of these videos and lets me be a hype man for him. Because I'll tell you, I will make this man seem like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'll do that for any fighter. But if you want me to talk that talk, I will talk that talk. I'm telling you. His punches shatter the heavens. He goes through the very essence of his movements. Sends shockwaves throughout the rest of the boxing world. His very breath freezes his opponents. Every punch is a domination, a statement of judgment on anybody that goes his way. When he taunts you, it is not because he sees you as an equal. It is because he sees himself as getting better. His taunts are only only applause for his own self-improvement. That is the thing. He is not a monster. He's a myth. I can go there. I can. See, that's why I said I'm a glade for a little bit. Only for a little. Back to reality of the time. Back to reality of the time I had. Oh Lord! But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. I think Ortiz beats Boots. Ortiz. No, whoa! That caught me off guard. Hold on a minute. Wait a second. I think Ortiz beats Boots. Ortiz is more experienced against high-level opposition. He doesn't know if Boots can fight at the level. Ortiz is a different level of pressure fighter. Now, you're not wrong. You ain't wrong. But I'm going to say this for certain. The same thing works the other way around. Boots has not faced somebody that experienced. Absolutely. Ortiz has never faced somebody this skillful. This ain't glaze. I'm talking about from a skills perspective, what they can do. Ortiz has never faced somebody this skillful in this much of a wide array of talent. So that experience is incredibly valuable, but it's going to come at a cost of you got to fight somebody who's got a combination of stuff that you ain't never fought in the same breath from the standpoint of this much amalgamation all in one body. That's where I'm concerned for Ortiz. Ortiz is the best brother I got to beat Boots at 154, absolutely. But at the same breath, I don't know if Ortiz can, because he's never faced somebody that can have so many different layers that he can just switch on, go to, turn off, all this stuff. But fighting Boots is like you have to fight upwards of 3 fighters at once, because he has those types of skill sets that he can reach into and change about whenever he needs to. Now, again, that's ability. He's still got to have the production to beat him. I understand. But that is also what Ortiz is going up against, as much as Boots is going up against experience. That's what makes this fight so intriguing. Because Ortiz definitely has the edge in knowing what to do. Having the ability to go and fight at a high level on a near constant basis with the cachet and the talent to validate what you are. Boots ain't faced somebody like that, absolutely. But at the same breath, Boots is also a different animal that Ortiz has never faced. That's why people have this fight as a 50-50 fight for a lot of reasons. That being one of them. It's almost a perfect counteract. And I'm so excited for it. That's why I can't wait. Because we're going to find out exactly what the real is with Boots and with Ortiz. So I can't wait for it. He knows how to break down fighters, especially guys who use footwork. Yeah. Again, he broke down Madrigal. A person that Boots would have struggled against, Virgil broke down. Yes, you can say he was sick. Yes, he was. Still, he broke him down. And he's be able to fight back from adversity, like against Welch, and knows what it's like to have to claw your way to victory. If he gets behind the 8 ball, he knows what to do. Boots not necessarily hasn't been at that same breadth. And if he has, he's been annoyed when going about it. Like with Shuka shots. It can be sketchy. It can be concerning. Absolutely. What think if Inoue and Loma trained together? If Inoue and Loma ever trained together, we would be looking at potentially the most skillful fighter we have of the last 20 years. If I understand. If Inoue learned the footwork of Lomachenko and learned the art of the Matrix himself, from the Matrix himself, who, I don't care how you view his career, his skill is one of the greatest and sweet science technical savants we've ever seen in boxing history. I can say that. I can say that definitively. Lomachenko is one of the most beautiful boxers we've ever seen, and his footwork has been unmatched by nearly everybody in boxing history. I can say that confidently, regardless of the record, what he was as a fighter. Yeah. Oh, it's rare for me to go through our history and see something akin to what Lomachenko was able to do. If Inoue learned that, there's nothing anybody can do to him. If Inoue learned Lomachenko's skill set, I dare say he could fight up to 147 and still be dominant. I say he could push it to 154 and be dominant. If he learned that, that would be unfair. Nakatani versus Inoue wouldn't be a fight worth talking about if Inoue learned Lomachenko's skill set. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Not because Nakatani ain't great, but that would literally be unfair. That's like me saying, what if Roy Jones Jr. gained a chin like Rocky Marciano? Huh? That's like me saying, what if George Foreman learned to move like a Muhammad Ali? Like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Are you serious? Like that would be preposterous. That would be horrifying. That's like saying, what if Devin Haney learned how to punch? Oh shoot. What if he learned some power? What if Isak Cruz learned some head movement? Buddy, that's horrifying. It's one of those perfect fits that would just make somebody insanely hard to beat. Insanely hard to beat. Oh gosh, that'd be scary. That would be scary. I was the first person in that comment section saying somebody send this to you. I can imagine. Oh shoot, that's funny. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Well, let me see. Let me keep on going. We almost at 3 hours. We had to actually wrap this up and do the last call for the championship rounds. I think we went on past the 30-minute mark that we said we were going to do, but we're going to keep on reading regardless of which. I mean, how do you see Haito Sutsumi versus Jazza Dickinson? Now, let me see. I'm not familiar with Dickinson. Let me look up the record real quick. Hold on. Let me get some background information. Like I said, we don't. If we don't know, we look it up and we try to validate what these people are and what they're going to do as going forward. Now, here's the thing. If he's going up against Sutsumi, and hey, 36-5. He's what, 36-5, 15 wins by KO. Incredibly experienced, mind you, and he's a southpaw. That's going to be interesting. Now, has he been champion before? He has. Okay. Now, excuse me, he's his current interim super featherweight champion. All right. Okay. So it's more than just a fluke. Yeah, no, it's not the super title or the legitimate WBA championship, but he's next in line. All right. Him going up against Sutsumi is the... Now, I will say, Is this a little bit too soon for my liking? Yeah. At least for Sasumi. Now this isn't to disrespect Sasumi. This is not me trying to say that Sasumi is well and good below the challenge necessary, but hey, we've been watching. I think we've been watching Sasumi go throughout his career as a fighter, and it's been, or at least he's been on. I think he's been on what? He's been on a good chunk of the cards that No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of what's his name? I'm thinking of the brand ambassador. I'm sorry. I'm thinking. Let me make sure I got that right. I'm thinking of what's his name? What's his name? Hold on. I'm thinking of Raito. That's who I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Raito Satsumi. My apologies. I saw the last name, and it looked, or at least from what I can remember how to spell it, it looked similar. So I was like, okay, you talking about Raito. I'm so sorry. I completely overlooked the first name of the brother. That's my fault. It didn't even click. I'm sorry. Raito Satsumi. Yes. Different brother. Different moon. Different man in top. Different fighter. Going up against Jazza Dickinson. I think Haito, not Raito. I think that Haito is going to get this one. Now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard because of the fact that the boxing ability of Dickinson, again, yes, he's 36-5. Yes, he just won the belt, but this is a man who, just based on his record alone, I can almost assume this cat is a very good mover. He's hard to hit, got a high connect percentage with his jab, and is incredibly elusive. Won't stay in one spot. I'm assuming, like I said, I haven't got to see footage. I'm assuming based on who he's fought and the record that he's done throughout his career of his fights. Not saying he can't stand in the pocket, but most likely he's not going to be looking to trade with the belt, especially if we look at Haito's record and career. It is, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, 8-5 KOs. Most likely amateur background is, I thought so. Amateurs, he was 22-4 in his career. Now in the pros, he's turning into a power puncher, moving quick. Now, again, similar trajectory to Madrimov. 8 fights, 10 fights, 12 fights. All of a sudden, you're in position to get a championship, not the world championship, but a championship under your belt. Ranked 19 in the world compared or relative to what we see with boxers. I can assume with other divisions, probably between that 15 to 20 ranking is where Haito's at. But if he, good gosh, he's ranked 4. Good, great day. Hold on, wait, time out. He's a 4.5-star brother. Good gosh. Wait a second. Let me watch some film with this cat. Wait a minute. 30 round TKO, 30 round TKO, 8 round TKO, 8 round TKO. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Good God, I thought this man's going on a 5. Great. Okay, all right, there might be something there. 5 straight fights have been by KO. And this brother, 30 round TKO, 30 round TKO, 8 round TKO, 30 round TKO, 30 round TKO. Brother, why is he knocking anybody out in the 3rd round? Wait a minute. Oh, shoot. I'm gonna look this guy up. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Record he's beaten. He's beaten Gio Santima, 22-5, 16-3, 22-13, 46-3. Knocked him out in 3 rounds. Moreno, he knocked out Rene Alvarado, 34-14. He knocked out Jermaine Diaz, 20-3. Knocked out Akis Ashfaq. I think it's Ashfaq. Might be saying his name right. Or might not be saying it that right. Whatever the case may be. Excuse me if I'm saying his name right. Excuse me if I'm saying his name wrong. Excuse me. 13-3-1. He's been fighting some experienced folks. Now again, I'm not saying I know what's gonna happen. I'm not saying he's gonna win. I need to watch some more film on that, brother. I'm not gonna lie. But if this is indicative of him fighting people that have been in the game for a hot minute this early, jumping into the deep end after a somewhat relatively short but seemingly pretty dominant amateur background, again 22-3 in the amateurs. He getting pushed this quickly, I would assume if it's like the other people that are getting 8-0, 10-0 records all of a sudden in an interim or legit title shot opportunity. Yeah, this brother probably gonna be legit. This brother probably gonna live up to what his resume is. Probably. I can assume probably. Let's take it for certain. But probably. So because of that, this might be a fight that we need to look out for. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do my research. But if Haito's looking like what his resume is gonna tell me, Dickinson, as much of a fighter as he may be, he might be in some trouble. Might be. If history repeats itself yet again. But again, we'll find out. But again, this is the last call for the championship. Is anybody else got something that they want to say? Anything they want to, questions, comments, concerns, debates on the NBA, which again, Spurs 5-2. Love it. Appreciate it. Victor Wembanyama. Yes, he had a 9.9 rebound game, 4-block game last time out, but still has been on a tear and has been willing this team, not willing. The key piece to why this team has been looking so great, and De'Aaron Fox ain't even there yet. Don't forget, rumor has it that the Spurs are going to make a move this year for Giannis. Potentially dangling an Atlanta Hawks pick or one of the other picks that they have and a couple of assets to get a trio of Giannis, Wemby, and De'Aaron Fox with Stephon Castle, who's been playing great, all on the same roster at the same time. And you want to talk about a deafening duo, a trio, shoot, a quartet of outright insanity. Oh, gosh. If that took place, that would be insane. Also, again, can we talk about the other word? We talk about other sports as well. If you want to talk about the NBA, we keep on going there. Talk about the Lakers looking great without LeBron. Austin Reeves averaging, 20-something point, 22, 23 points ever since they've been really working. Luka been looking great. Defensively, the Lakers have been looking phenomenal. You got people, again, like with out east. Bulls are 5, I believe Bulls are 5-0, 5-2. Bulls got a good record, which is insane to say. I was shocked when I saw that they're actually performing at a high level. Now, I think it's going to be early season, not going to say rust, but early season success is going to falter out and balance out later on in the year. I have no doubt about that. I'm not going to buy into the Bulls stock at this point in time. Not now. Not now. They keep this up throughout the season. Okay, we got ourselves a conversation. We have ourselves a potential opportunity. Okay, we can talk now about Chicago actually might have something under their belt in a sense of conducive success. But I ain't going to say nothing yet. But as season wanes on, we're going to keep on going through. Also, don't forget, OKC still looking great. Still looking good. Still looking at it like a dominant team. Looking to still go about with their repeat. Granted, if everybody, especially if we see Chet Holcomb be able to stay healthy this season, ooh, buddy, watch out. Everybody better watch out. Speaking of which, I'm still high on that Rockets roster. Even without a designated point guard, man, that offense that we see them to have has just been an onslaught of outright intensity. It's ridiculous. Offensively, what that team can be. And my gosh, they keep on playing like they've been playing. Mark my words. Or they can be something serious. But again, just quick synopsis over the NBA, over the NFL. As we continue to cover through. Again, this is the last call. I'm just talking just to fill some time to let y'all get your questions out. If y'all don't have nothing by the time I finish, okay, we're gonna end the show. No question. But we are a multifaceted show. Ravens still having some troubles. The Panthers, we winning. Yeah, buddy. We already getting above 500. We're 5-4. We got the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all better watch out now. We a good team. We a good team. We a good team. So you better hope and pray that Bryce Young doesn't stay healthy, because under him, we actually looking pretty good. Without him, we got Andy Dalton, and we suck under Andy Dalton. But hey, Rico Dowd's still playing phenomenally. We got Teddy Moana. Is it Teddy Moana? T-Mac. We got T-Mac. Look at wide receiver. My goodness. He is an absolute dog. And our defense is actually showing up. We beat Green Bay. Clincher. Absolute tight-knit game. But we held Micah Parsons to not a sack for the entire game. Not a sack or pressure. Oh, gosh. Y'all forgot he was on the floor or on the field. We might have something going. We might have some momentum built off of a running game. We better not trade Rico down. And we better find a way to either trade Chuba Hubbard or use him as a dynamic duo, crash and dash like we used to, smash and dash like we used to do with D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Because we got some weapons. Oh, we got some weapons. And it looks like we're starting to come together. And the coaching under Canales looking a little bit hopeful. But again, I'll save my uber excitement later after the season if this keeps on going through. But hey, high hopes nonetheless. Let me see. I think Andy Hiroka will be Japan first champion above 135. Well, what? You know what? You know what? I might have to agree. I might have to agree. I might have to agree. Because I'm thinking of everybody else over in Japan who has aspirations legitimately of being a champion above 130. And I think Hiroka has the best shot. Even more importantly, is the reason why he's got the best shot. He's got the best shot because of who holds the belts at 135. Now, it's still an incredibly stacked division. I don't think he's beating Shakur Stevens. Absolutely. Do I think he's beating Abdullah Mason? Yeah, I doubt it. This is not disrespect to him. It's just the talent of that division. But, again, the avenue comes into play when belts get dropped. Specifically, if we see Tank drop the belt, or right now, there isn't a there ain't a WBO champ. Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. Is there not a WBO champion? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Is there not a 135 champion for the WBO? Wait a minute. Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Raymond Murtala, who got elevated by the IBF, excuse me, and is getting ready to fight Andy Cruz. Oh, and then it's vacant. Oh, okay. All right. Then, yeah, there's a road. Okay. Yeah, there's a road. Wait, I thought it was at 135. Hold on. Hiroka's not a... Hold on. Excuse me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me fact check myself. Hold on. I thought Hiroka was at 135. I promise you, I knew he was at 135. Let me find out. Hold on a minute. Yeah, 24-0, 19 KOs. Incredibly strong power puncher. Okay, yep, he's at 140. Why was I have all this time? Hold on, time out. Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. See, this is the bad thing about having so many divisions. For the entirety of his run, I have been, mind you, 2016, 2017 was when I really started hunkering down in sport of boxing. See this brother in 2016, or heard about this brother in 2016. And at that point in time, he had fought at 135. Since then, knowing he had knocked out everybody, knowing he was going on a tear, I just assumed, because I never went back and looked at what division he was, if he had ever moved up, that he was just at 140. Because the first time I heard about him was at 135. So, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I've been looking at this man through the lens of he's going to be fighting at 135. Y'all better watch out because he's coming. At some point in time, I don't know when, he's going to be a real threat. He's been at 140 since 2017, and I completely overlooked it because I just kept on assuming he's at 135 still, winning and dominating. My gosh, I'm so sorry. That is a mulligan on my part. I do apologize. I was completely... It was just fixed in my mind. This man was still at 135. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. He's at 140. Let's reevaluate this show. At 140. Not at 135. Who is it he can beat amongst the world champions right now? You got Brian Norman Jr. You got IBF Lewis Crocker. You got Barrios. You got William as the current litany of people holding the belt. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Wrong list. That's welterweight. 140. Everything I read was welterweight. Forget everything. Forget all of that. Everything I just read was 140. I'm sorry. The way this website, Boxing Live, got it structured, it ain't. They need to make a better berry. 130, 140, super lightweight, is Teofimo Lopez, Richardson Hitchens, Sabril Matias, and Isaac Cruz, as well as Gary Antoine Russell. I believe is the WBA. Yep, WBA champion. Isaac Cruz currently listed as the interim WBC super lightweight champion. So the four champions on this, based on what I'm reading, is Gary Antoine Russell, Sabril Matias, Richardson Hitchens, and Teofimo Lopez, with Teo also holding the lineage. So amongst those champions, best bet would probably be beating Sabril Matias or Hitchens. Now, both of them most likely would give him some trouble because of the fact that Matias, war for war, oh my gosh, that is an incredibly dangerous fight. And Hitchens, with that, again, I'm not saying he's the cream of the crop of champions, but I have to respect what his boxing ability is. Camboso, it was either Parra or Camboso who has the best win, but either way, that it showed me something that is more than what I thought he had as a skill set, but not to where he's absolutely undeniable and unbeatable by the wide array of the boxing worlds. Because of that, probably those two are his best bet to win at 140 to become champions. I would assume he's got a better shot against Hitchens than Matias, because I don't know if I want to see him go against a war against Sabril. Because that's a tall order, man. That's an incredibly tall order. But yes, at 140, looking at the championships, yes, there is an avenue that he can get. And yes, everybody at 135. Or excuse me, everybody at 140. See, I'm doing it again. It's been so ingrained for so long. I gotta let Knicks to happen. With everybody at 140, who is of comparable rep and a champion. Those two, Matias and Hitchens, I can see him beat. Yes, I can. I can see him beat. at least one to get a shot at the back. Because again, he got cracked. That man, look, that brother can punch. That man can put you to sleep. He can put you to sleep. I dare say he's got enough power to make Matias have to work. I dare say he's got enough power to make Matias have to work if he ever fought Matias for the belt. But it is the relentless pressure of Matias that I'm concerned about when it comes to getting in the ring with him. I'm really concerned about it because Hiroka, he got the crack to make him respect him, but can he sustain that crack and the output necessary if we do see that Matias can take those shots? I'm not saying he ain't conditioned. I'm not saying he can't run, but that going up against Matias is a war that very few, if any, have ever been able to box their way out of. Even people who beat him had to go and fight him by the time the fight ended because it was the pressure was so relentless and the damage from those arm punches was so fervent that, again, just like I said before with Errol Spence, just like I said with David Benavidez, he breaks you down. He breaks you down just by touching you up. Archie Benavidez, he breaks you down just by tapping you. And so those two are the best people I think I can see him beat. That Matias fight, man, he's got the stuff to make him walk back. But man, it's going to be a time. It's going to be a time. Let me see. I think he can beat Gary Antoine Russell. Now that, I don't think so. I don't think he can beat Russell. I don't think he can beat Russell. I think Russell's too good. He's too good of a boxer puncher. I think he's too good of a boxer puncher. He's too quick. That speed, coupled with that power, I think it's too fast. It's too, for my liking, it's too quick. That is a step. That's a step too far for where I see Andy. Now, if Andy beats Hitchens or Matias, okay, we got you can talk to me about Russell, but for me, I can't put him as beating Russell just yet. Again, that's a me thing. That's just the person. I don't see him beating Russell if they fought against each other. But I could see him beating Hitchens and Matias if he fought against them. Though again, I think Hitchens would be an easier time or a more I don't want to say easier, a less damaging time. And then it would be against Matias. Let me see. Russell lost to Puello. Now, yes, he did lose to Puello. Absolutely, no question. Absolutely. But again, I'm just speaking for me. Like again, triangle theory doesn't always work. Russell lost to Puello, hence he would lose to Andy Cruz, or not Andy Cruz, Andy Hiroka, because we lost to him, and Andy Hiroka is that dog, because he is that dog. It's gonna be hard to say that, yeah, you shouldn't be able to beat Andy Hiroka if you face off against him because of what you did against Puello. But I just don't see Russell losing to Andy. I just don't see it. I just can't put that there yet. Now, again, I'll watch some film. I'll go back and look at them each. I'll go back and keep on evaluating. I have no problem with that. But right now, I just don't see Andy beating Russell if they fought against you, because I just think that Russell is just too quick. He's just too quick. For my money, he's too quick with power to not be able to both pressure and avoid. Not saying he's a phenomenal defensive fighter, but I think he's good enough and fast enough. He'll be able to give too much of pressure and speed for Andy to be able to deal with and punch out of. Because again, he can crack in his own. Let me say, Andy got good counters to stop Russell in his tracks. See, that's true. That's true. Let's see. Like I said, you're not bringing up bad points. You're bringing up great points. You're bringing up great points. I'm not denying that at all. If they traded with each other, I would be more inclined to say that, yeah, if Russell loses one of those exchanges, it can be bad. It can be bad quick and in a hurry. It can get bad quick and in a hurry if he loses one of them exchanges. And he gets caught in the middle of a shot. Oh, yes, he can. It's just at this point in time, it's just my feeling. It's just my feeling right now. But again, it is subject to change. It is subject to change. I know Andy can put down Russell. Absolutely, I do. I am not denying that in the slightest. It's just right now, my confidence is more so in Russell than in Andy. But again, I have no issue going throughout the week, looking back over, studying both of them, and painting a different picture if indeed I see something. I promise you, I'll go through it because everything you saying ain't wrong. If anything, it's helping further the argument of what Andy can do to Russell if they ever fought against each other. Absolutely, 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 absolutely. It's just, again, it's just my opinion. And if it gets to a point where I got to change it, I'll change it. I'm telling you how I feel right now. But again, as time goes on, I guarantee you, if it gets to a point where I feel it, if it gets to a point where I feel different, I'll be the first to say it. I promise you, I'll be the first to say it. But I do know that fight would be exciting. Oh gosh, that fight would be so exciting to watch. That fight would be so exciting. That would be so exciting to watch. That would be so fun to watch. Both of them getting in the ring with each other. That would be a pleasure. I'd pay money for that fight. That fight is a main event. I'd pay money for that. Russell versus Andy, I'd pay money for that. I would pay money for that. I'd pay money for Sabril versus Andy. Would I pay money for Matias versus Andy? I don't know because I respect Andy. I'm telling you, I respect Matias. No, excuse me. I respect Hitchens. I'm sorry. I respect Hitchens. See, I need some drink. I respect Hitchens, but I'm not high as a fan of him. Probably wouldn't pay money for that, but I would pay. For those other two, I pay good money for them. Those would be some great wars. Great wars. Absolutely. But again, is there anything else anybody wants to say? Because if not, I think we're going to pack it up and send it home. I'm just sad we had to wait a month longer for the fight. Yeah, I hate it. I know. Like I said, it's a bad situation right now. It's like a better term. It's a bad situation. And Lord knows, we want to see that fight. I want to see that fight. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait around. I don't. But some stuff is just out of our control. And where the chips fall, we will keep on talking about them as the show goes on. But I think we're going to wrap this show up and send it home. It's been a pleasure with everybody coming in, but I think it's time for us to go and end this off. I got some editing I got to do. We got some other plans that we got to make, and I got to make sure I'm prepped for Thursday. So with all that being said, well, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, John Lewis. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you had some fun. Hopefully you got some stuff out of it. And hopefully you'll be investing in everything that we got going forward. You'll be back on Thursday. More boxing talk, more sports talk as a whole, and more time to conversate and debate with you all, the viewing and listening public. Leave a like on the stream before you get on out of here. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know, so we keep on building up this empire together. If you haven't, we gotta do the top chatters of the week. Number 5 was indeed Dale Anderson. Number 4 was Vaughn Greenhill. Pound for pound number 3 chatter, Al Booga. Pound for pound number 2 was indeed Bobby. And number 1 pound for pound, and I think his first stint up here, is Amin Rhoda. What's good with you? And congratulations to Amin Rhoda for being the pound for pound number 1 chatter on today's episode. Can you retain it come Thursday? We're going to find out. But thank you to everybody who tuned into the show. All of you chatted and supported and came in, made this show great, made this show phenomenal. We appreciate all of you. We're going to be back on Thursday. Be sure to rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform. This show will be available on every podcasting platform for you to listen to at your leisure. And hey, we're going to have fun. We're going to do our thing. And we're going to be back on Thursday talking more about boxing and the greater landscape of the sports world as a whole. So I've been Sean. Oh, yeah. And if you want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal, links down below. But monetization is on the way. Trust and believe. Give it a couple weeks. It's here. We're just waiting on the day. Waiting on it to say. And then we're going to be good to go. But again, with all that being said, I've been Sean Welch. Y'all have a wonderful peace and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Thursday. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace and love. And we out of here.